Yes. Greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, Robert Meyer Burnett. I invite you to watch and listen to the Designing Hollywood podcast, brought to you by Martika Ibarra and the great, legendary Hollywood costume designer, Marilyn Vance. I am afforded the wonderful opportunity of co-hosting the show. If you are interested in the magic of Hollywood, the design of Hollywood, the clothes of Hollywood, watch the Designing Hollywood podcast, available wherever you get your podcasts from, or find the video version on the John Campea YouTube channel. That's right, the Designing Hollywood podcast. Why would you ever want to miss it, especially if you love the movies?
There's a company called Hot Toys, and they make these insanely realistic, renderings of characters. They do them for all the Marvel characters or whatever, and they look so much like you. It's disturbing, actually. Like, scary. They look so much like you, but they're tiny. They're like 18 inches or something like that. They actually that's what's crazy about that company is they hand make they carve the mold of
That's crazy.
It's wild.
Robservations with Robert Meyer Burnett.
Well, greetings, imagination connoisseurs. Once again, it is I, your Duke of Dope Discourse, your master of fun and wonder, your viceroy of verisimilitude, your sommelier of sci-fi, your existential Mr. Rogers, your pharaoh of physical media, whatever you want to call me, whatever name you want to throw my way and hang on my nose, I'll take it. I'll have somebody do a graphic and I'll add it to that litany of names that other people gave me. Robert Meyer Burnett, and I'm here with Midnight Musings, episode number 32. But you know what? You didn't really come to see me, did you? No, you didn't. You came to see my lovely co-host. You know her, you love her, you watch her show on Mondays, and if you don't, why don't you? The lovely how are you tonight?
I am doing great, Robert. It's Midnight Musings. I love being here in the evening to do the show, Robert. I look forward to it every week, and it's so great to see you. How are you?
Well, it's been a fun week. Who would have thought? You know what I would if you asked me, if you said, Rob, do you think we'll see Colin Cantwell's design for a Star Destroyer on screen this week? I would have said Colin Cantwell died. I kind of like that Star Destroyer you came up with, but there's no way that we're ever going to see that Star Destroyer on screen. Yeah. Cut to Wednesday morning, at 12 a.m., I start watching Andor episode 11, and one of arguably the coolest space moments, space battle sequences in Star Wars history, it was given to us on the old, I was watching in Dolby Vision. Man, was that cool? That was cool. And Luthen Rael, is it Rael or Rael? I don't know. Like Lael.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, he is something else. Luthen,
I mean, after his speech of last week, could he have gotten cooler? Yes, yes, he can.
Incredible. Luthen has amazed us all, and he's become even more of an enigma in a way. I think that he, worked with the Empire at some point, and 15 years ago, or at least before the Empire became the entire power, he knew about the idea and what was going to happen. and he doesn't like how things are going, and that's why he's doing this. This is what I think might be his motivation, but I don't really know. We still don't know everything about Luthen. It's amazing how he's managed to inspire people to do all of this, and yet we don't know everything about him.
Top 5 Star Wars character for me. You know, I mean, it's very funny. I was this is sort of funny. Earlier today, the Jedi Rocks from the Return of the Jedi Special Edition pops up, and I watched it, and I'm like, I am not a fan of Return of the Jedi. I've often said, people that know me, it's the most disappointing movie I've ever seen in my life, and most people love Return. I love Return. Watching Jedi Rocks now, from the Special Edition, especially after this episode of Andor, I'm like. Because the funny thing is, for me, Star Wars and Empire changed my life. I've said this on the show a million times. In my mind, Star Wars was always what Andor is giving us. I always took it that seriously. And Return of the Jedi destroyed that for me. You know, I was Star Wars and Empire, I was very serious about that. People know I saw Empire Strikes Back 26 times in the theater. Star Wars, the first Star Wars, changed my life. And since then, honestly, for me, nothing. No Star Wars. No, it doesn't matter what it was. Droids, Ewoks, the cartoons, the holiday special, the prequel trilogy, the sequel trilogy, Rebels, Clone War, both Clone Wars, whatever. Nothing ever matched what Star Wars and Empire were in my imagination. Right. And I thought I would grow up and they would get better and more sophisticated and more. Until now. I mean, I liked Rogue One. Didn't love it. Liked it. The problem I had with Rogue One is it should have been a half an hour longer, and each member of the team should have had a 5 or 10 minute sequence showing us their backstory. Right. Before they all met on Jeddah. You know, that would have made it a much better movie. And I hope, it's never going to happen, but I hope that the people like Tony Gilroy, who, by the way, wrote this week's episode, Tony Gilroy and team, because he was brought in to fix Rogue One. I hope if I were Disney, I would let him go back in and do his re-edit of Rogue One, and when they finish Andor, they show us a longer, darker, the original version of Rogue One that they had to tone down. I would love to see them reimagine Rogue One as the end of this show, because that would be epic. They're not going to do that, but it would be epic if they did.
I wish they did do that. I was always told that that was it. There was no director's cut of it, and I was a little disappointed in that because I felt like there needed to be a little bit more to the story. So I feel the same way.
So let me just put that on hold. And something significant happened to your own YouTube channel this week, did it not?
Yes, it did. Yes.
What happened to your YouTube channel?
I finally got monetized.
Ooh, you're a YouTube partner now.
I am a YouTube partner, and they don't tell you when it happens. At least they say you're part of it. And then when you look on your videos, you know, it doesn't always allow you to go ahead and monetize everything. But it was one particular stream that I did this week where I found out that I was monetized, and I noticed that it allowed people to do a super chat. And Tom Jr. Jackson sent me a super chat. Thank you, Tom. And I think a guy by the name of Jumanji also sent me a super chat. Thank you for doing that. And that's how I found out I was monetized. Because I kept looking and I said, nothing has changed on the channel. It just still looked the same. So yes, this week I am monetized, Robert. And
that also means that also means you're getting YouTube revenue.
Yes, it does.
Now, have you looked? Do you see how you can put commercials on your ads on your channel?
I have to look at the details. And
okay, go down to on the side. It says monetization, and then you can put what I do. And YouTube ads have become unbearable. There, if you watch, I mean, every 2 minutes, I can't even. What I do on my shows, sometimes I do it after the fact, but I put ads every 15 minutes.
Okay.
Because that allows you to get involved. I mean, I can't. Yeah, the idea is you can make a lot more money, but not really. I mean, for those of you who don't know, for every 1 million views you get, you make $1,000,
Okay.
unless you have. So it's pittance. You make very little money. Um, so yeah, and it's yeah. Anyway, but congratulations. Where can
Thank you.
people find you on YouTube?
You can find me on my channel, Positive Fandom. Absolutely, guys, I appreciate everybody who subscribed, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel, Positive Fandom. Every Sunday, I have my Sunday brunch show at 10:30 a.m. Eastern time, where we do all the parlay and the fandom. So definitely do check it out. And Robert, thank you for supporting the channel from day one. Thank you so much for everything you've done.
Oh, come on, that's not me. You deserve it. It's all your work.
Thank you.
It's been great to get to know you and to be. You're the only person that's actually been here in the new Robservatory and streamed.
Yes, that is true. And
The
I look
only
forward to
one, and
in a
it's. I'm
honestly.
finally getting into the final changes here. There's gonna be
Yes.
more lights and things have changed, and it's all good.
Well, you've done a lot of work on the outside of your property too. I've seen your posts,
Yes.
and it looks like you guys are hard at work putting down pavers and different things.
Yeah,
It's
we've done. It's been fun. I've been swinging a pickaxe, and I feel like John Henry or something. Like Paul Bunyan doing that work. And our new movie room, the new media room, is very, very cool. I was hanging curtains in there tonight.
it sounds wonderful. I
So
can't.
now I have to say, Rodney sent in a tip to the channel 4 days ago, and I haven't done Robservations, so I can't. But Rodney, all he said was, "Thanks for discussing Dwayne McDuffie." Now,
Oh,
what he was referring to is I was talking about on the Weekly Hero on
yes.
Monday. I was talking about the fact that Static, the character of Static, or as we know him from the animation, Static Shock, Dwayne McDuffie was one of the architects 30 years ago of the Milestone universe, which was a black created comic universe within DC. And that's where Static came from. That's where Icon came from. And Dwayne McDuffie, the late, great Dwayne McDuffie, who was married to a friend of mine, Charlotte Fullerton, who I went to USC with 34 years ago. Dwayne was he was a gentle giant of a man. He was huge. He was like 6'6" or something. And he was such a nice guy. And I had a lot of interactions with him at our various friends' parties and stuff, because everybody I know, we'd all go to the same parties. And Dwayne was a terrific guy, taken way before his time. And Charlotte has set up a Dwayne McDuffie Foundation or a fund or something that supports creators. But the Milestone universe is coming back, and Static, who had crossed over with Batman Beyond in the animated series, there's a new comic series. And so I just mentioned Dwayne McDuffie because people out of sight, out of mind. I mean, Dwayne McDuffie, I knew Dwayne McDuffie, and he was such a great guy. And Rodney sent me a tip. I wasn't even on. He just sent a tip to the channel, and I want to thank him for that. That was very nice. But you know what? Any chance to talk about the late great Dwayne McDuffie is always something that we should avail ourselves from or for. And if you haven't, they didn't really. There was a bit of a, like, Dennis Cowan was one of the Milestone creators, and they had a big problem with DC. I mean, I don't know, the rights or something, and it was anyway. There's not a lot of the Milestone universe has not been collected, but I think it's all being collected now, and it's all going to come out. But it's great to see the Milestone universe keep going, and the Dwayne McDuffie Foundation that Charlotte runs to promote creators, and in Dwayne McDuffie's name. He wrote a lot of great animation. He worked for the Warner Brothers DC animated stuff, and he was just a terrific guy. So Rodney, I appreciate, there was no need for you to tip me for mentioning Dwayne, but I certainly appreciate it, sir. And you can't talk about Dwayne McDuffie enough because he is a terrific guy. And Paul sent in a tip 12 hours ago. And he said, "Dear Rob, as you know, I'm a firm believer in the free market. Therefore, I will accept 1/10 of 1% of $44 billion. This must be your Twitter, to have a midlife crisis and ruin your website. Dear Mr. Meyer, call me. You have my number. Let's do business." Paul, I don't want to destroy anything. I find I am by no means an Elon Musk fanboy, but I do love what SpaceX has done, and I'm a fan of Tesla, and I know people are always trying to take that stuff down, but I've had a lot of fun driving in Teslas with John Campea. They're amazing pieces of equipment, and really great stuff. So that's good. And now a silly goose just sends in a tip and says Luthen is the GOAT.
Yes.
I gotta tell you, let's get back to Luthen, Luthen Rael or Rael or whatever. Incredible. Let me ask you. I mean, after this last episode, we had his speech, which is one of the great Star Wars speeches of all time. Last week, this week, we saw Luthen, cool as a cucumber, basically take out. Who knew that Star Wars spaceships had countermeasures?
I've never seen anything. I never saw that weapon before. Both weapons. I had no idea. We were talking about it the other day that it's got to be kyber crystal generated weapons.
I mean, it's funny. Was that a lightsaber?
It looked like it. It looked like two lightsabers sticking out of the sides.
I mean, people did say because he was walking with a cane, but that cane was silver. Maybe it extends from that. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's a cane and a light. I don't know. But they certainly lingered on that. You have to give that to us. If it was just a cane, why would they care? And another, can we just talk about how great Saw Gerrera has been in the show too?
Yes. Forrest Whitaker, first of all, they were lucky to get him at all for this series. But he has just been so incredible in adding, so much importance to the story. And certainly, there are going to be awards. People are going to be nominated in this series for sure. I wouldn't be surprised if Forrest Whitaker was nominated.
God damn. It's so funny because all we've seen, I want to see Saw Gerrera kick some fucking ass. I hope next week. I don't know. There was so much cool shit. Like when you die on what Ferrex, you get put in a brick. I love this idea.
Yes, and
I want my ashes to be put in a brick and put into a building somewhere.
Yeah, it certainly ties you to the location, and it shows how important they feel being there and what that property means to them. And that droid, I love how they're treating this droid. He is so, well, I don't know what you would call him, but he's so important and so sweet. And just seeing his reaction to losing Marva has been one of the most touching things I've ever seen. They even let you see what it looked like from his point of view, looking outside of his.
Oh my God. I mean, and the water dripping like he's crying. I mean, this show, it's so interesting because this show has taken, like I was saying earlier, it's taken Star Wars to where it's always been in my imagination. But
yes,
yeah, unbelievable. And I love the fact that, the fact that a character dies and is not part of the Force. All we've ever seen are these special people in the Star Wars universe, but now we're just seeing the everyday life of people. And that's why I think is Luthen, I don't necessarily think, maybe he's a Jedi, but I think he's just a dude.
Mm-hmm.
And can we talk about how Mon Mothma is another one? Mon Mothma has also become one of the greatest Star Wars characters ever when she's the position that she's in. I mean, what was so interesting about all these things we saw, Cassian finally get back to his hotel, and obviously they don't clean those rooms very well, but that's okay.
Well, when you're on vacation in a luxury hotel, the last thing you're looking at is the ceiling or
No, and also it wasn't exactly a luxury hotel. That's more like a Miami Beach shithole motel that they put Gus Grissom in the right stuff. I wanted to meet Jackie.
But you know something, Robert? I've been having fun making parody videos about Mon Mothma and her parties. And it's just been so great. I just have been exploring the world and thinking about what it would be like to be on Coruscant. And I haven't been that inspired by a series in a while. You know, there's something inside of me that says, I've got to get to this party of Mon Mothma. And I know how I can get into her party. And so I've just kind of been playing around with that idea. And no other series has really done that for me, but this one has. And I think it just shows, you know, the way that the series is written. You just want to continue the story. You want to continue to enjoy it. And that's why we're watching this stuff. It's supposed to be entertaining. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the most entertaining show I've seen in a long time.
Oh my God. And you know, it's very funny. Like I mean, I follow a lot of other YouTube channels, and I'm obviously a fan of and friends of people. I mean, it's so weird that like I don't expect everybody to be like I am, but I really like all kinds of creators. I love The Drinker. I like Dave Cullen a lot. You know, I love Gary Nerdrotic. Obviously, he and I are very different people, but I still love what he's done. And of course, I love Az and all the guys on Midnight's Edge. I love Andre used to be on this channel, which we got to get him to come back. And
Yes, we need to have him come back.
yeah, and I love Andre. And it's fun to have this community, whether we agree or not. It doesn't really matter. We have different approaches. It doesn't matter. We're all fans. That's what I said. We're all fans. But my God, to have this kind of a show, and at least for the most part, most people are coming around, you know, on Andor. And I listen to people when they talk about, well, this show's boring. I'm like, what? Like, I don't, sure, the tone and the pace are different, and but I find this, you know, somebody said to me, I think maybe John brought it up, John Campion said, this is the Wire of the Star Wars universe. And the Wire is one of my favorite TV shows ever. And people used to say, bro, that show is so boring. And I'm like, what? Boring? Stringer Bell's one of my favorite characters. That's the first time I saw Idris Elba, and I didn't even know he was British.
Yes.
And this show is very similar to that because it's very procedural and it's very, it feels very sort of European in a way. It looks, maybe because it was shot in Europe, but man, I look at the show and I'm like, Mon Mothma is everything is, I mean, you know, she's like, well, I was able to take care of everything, but this one, a very obscure, like she's going to get fucked unless she totally,
Yes.
I mean, she's looking at her daughter going, I mean, I'm her mom, but do I have to make a deal with the devil?
You know, she's definitely in a difficult position. And I think for her, it will be worth it in the end, what she did, because she knew the risks. And as far as she's concerned, she's willing to sacrifice her safety for others. And I think that shows, you know, a true leader, honestly. You know, something that I'm most concerned about is that Vel just can't stop, you know, stopping by. And she was involved in that heist in Aldani, and they saw her face. They know what she looks like.
I mean,
So-
yeah, and that's the thing. You look at all these people. Here's the thing. You go back to Goodfellas, the Lufthansa heist, you know, in Goodfellas, and then everybody shows up at the bar with their girlfriends or wives are wearing mink coats, and they got pink Cadillacs, and Robert De Niro's like, what the fuck? Like, I told you, don't spend any money. Don't sit there and go, I gave him Aldani. Don't say that shit. I mean, one of my favorite scenes was when she shows up in Luthen's shop. He's in, and she's like, where's Luthen? And Luthen's assistant's like, you're a fucking idiot and shut the fuck up. I mean, she wasn't saying that. You're not doing this right. I need to see him. I mean, it's like, I would have vaporized her there. Like, you have become, all of these people are like, are I know what they want. They all want what they want, but they're all, none of them listen. They don't listen. Yes. And any one of them can fuck it all up for everybody. And one of them will. Something's going to happen where, and it's like you walk into Luthen's shop. What, you think it's not watched? You think there's not listening devices and everything, you know, and his assistant was so cool as a cucumber. You're not doing this right. I mean, she warned her.
Yes.
It's like, great, what have you done for me lately? Aldani was great, but shut the fuck up. I mean, if I was Luthen, I would be like De Niro in Goodfellas. I'd kill every motherfucker.
Well,
Like
I
anybody,
realize-
like because they're not trustworthy. They don't understand. You will fuck things up. The only person I would trust is Saw Gerrera.
Yeah,
Saw
I
knows
agree
what's
on
up. Saw's like, I call it war. Oh my God. I can't. I think we should have Talk Like Saw Gerrera Day, because I just want to talk like him.
Well, he's been through the ringer throughout the entire galaxy, and I think that he has paid his dues, and he doesn't just buy Luthen's rhetoric. Honestly, he goes by the beat of his own drum, and Luthen knows this, and that's why I think Luthen was compelled to tell him that if he went to where Federer was, that he would be killed, or at least be in really bad danger, because Saw may still go. We don't know what Saw's going to do, because he's so unpredictable. So I don't think he'd walk into an Empire fight on purpose, but he is unpredictable. This guy is very different from everybody else, so we can't say for sure what he's going to do. But I do have to wonder a lot about Clea, who, from what she said, things are actually difficult at the shop. There's fewer items in there. And I'm guessing if Mon Mothma's having difficulty moving money, and they shut things down in Ferrix, which used to be the place where you got everything, if you can't get it there, it's not worth getting. I bet you that whole place is shut down too. They're probably tightening every place. People can't move products. They can't move money. They, even Luthen can't even go to the planet.
The noose
right?
is tightening.
It is happening, but I think that maybe in a greater scale than what Luthen might have thought. He was one of the lucky ones, but for the majority of people, they can't get away like he can. Why does he have? It's the money from Mon Mothma. I guess it's paying to support his endeavors, but he does have technology that it seems like we really haven't seen a lot of before. So that is something to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty amazing. And I'll tell you what I found really interesting about this show, and I had to go back and watch it again. There is music in that space battle sequence, but not really. There's no sweeping, na 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 na, no asteroid field music. And there's like percussion, but it's very subtle the way it builds up. I mean, they don't need to use music to instill a feeling in you. Mm-hmm. And that I find this is very. I find this take the Star Wars out of it. I find this all fascinating from a storytelling standpoint, because they allow the characters. They're not telegraphing how people should feel when they watch this. They're just presenting what happens, and they're hoping that you are following up. By the way, I just want to say Alex Detman, who's a moderator, Alex Detman sent me something that came in the mail that I was very touched and amazed by, that I will be showing this weekend on Robservations. So, Alex, I got your package, buddy. Alex says, good to see you guys again, RMB, and the lovely Rob, my nephew, was wondering if you got the package and what you thought of it. Oh, I got the package, but you're going to have to wait to see what I thought of it. I will be reading the little letter you sent me, too. So, you tell your nephew. I was going to say, fucking dude, that was fucking awesome. Don't tell him that. So don't tell him that. Say that I was touched and moved, but I'll talk about that more, but not tonight, because I have to, it's show, not tell. So there now, Robert, you go.
Is there a member call this weekend, or is
there is? So for those of you who don't know, if you are a member of this channel, we've been pretty good about the last couple months. We have bi-weekly member chats, and I see there's a lot of members re-upping their memberships and things. Mario Lopez, all the way from Portugal, is here. By the way, Mario, say hello to your mom. And so what we do in these member chats is we just hang out, and it's going to start at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, because we're no longer in daylight saving time, so Pacific Standard Time. And we usually stay for like 3 or 4 hours, depending on how long Roberto can stay. Sometimes it's shorter. But how it works is you come in the chat, everybody just comes in the chat, and you raise your hands if you want to speak. And the floor is yours for 10 minutes. You can say whatever the hell you want. And I will talk to you, and you talk to everybody else, and we just hang out. And it's really fun.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I love the member chats.
So it's great to meet everybody. So, So let me ask you this.
Yes.
So I've heard that the last episode's like 54 minutes. And if you
Yes.
include the credits, it's just shy of 50 minutes. I mean, if you don't include the credits, so we're going to get almost 50 minutes, which is like a 60 show. A 60 show is usually 50 to 52 minutes. So we're getting a full hour of without commercials. Um,
Yes.
like I can't wait. But I mean, I feel like everybody, I feel like this was the night, you know, that episode of Game of Thrones before it was my favorite episode of the 8th season when everyone's just sitting around the fire and they knight Brienne of Tarth and it's the
Yes.
last night before all hell breaks loose. I feel like
Yes.
all of our characters are
They
in
all sleep together in
yeah,
that episode, right? They all hook up,
sure,
right?
absolutely. They all
You
hook
can't
up.
really guess what happens
But
in that episode.
I felt like this episode, you know, Andor Cassian's on his own. Luthen just lit off to wherever he's going. Saw Gerrera knows what he has to do. There's going to be the funeral on Ferrex, and who knows what's going to happen there. The Empire's watching things. Cyril, where's our boy Cyril? Is he going to have a complete meltdown, or is he going to ingratiate himself to the love of his life, Ilsa She-Wolf of the SS? Like, what is going to happen? It's amazing. I just want to say PF Dennis just gifted 10 memberships to
Wow.
the Post-Geek Singularity. And that was amazing. Thank you for that. Danny Pearson, 9-8 Slabs Almost Always, was gifted a membership. Alan Ling, Nico C., Mark Spector's Avatar, Albion, Philip Music, Sister Harlow, Eduardo Cruz, Paul in Long Beach. That was very nice of you, PF Dennis. And I want you to know that all of you who are members, tomorrow, 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we're having another member call, and they are fun.
Yes.
And so, you know, going back to, I mean, are we going to have, is all hell going to, what do you think's going to happen next week?
Well, they're definitely going to have the funeral. Marva's funeral is going to happen, and there's supposed to be some kind of raid in Spell House. That's where there's going to be the Imperial activity there. Cyril is definitely going to end up, at that funeral. He's going to be there, and he's going to cause all sorts of rife. I don't think Andor is going to go to the funeral. But I think that that's the expectation, and something's going to happen there. There's too many people who have too much at stake. This particular funeral procession, if they mess it up, meaning if the Empire interferes and it's not respectful, I think that the people on that planet are going to go crazy.
That's what I think's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to be like what we're seeing in Iran.
Yes.
You know, well, it's so weird to be watching this show and have both what's going on in Ukraine and what's happening in Iran. You know, the Iranians are executing young dissidents. You know, for protesting. I mean, you have an Islamic country. They want to live by Sharia law, and yet their morality police. A young woman dies in their custody, and people protest, and now they're going to execute protesters. I don't think Allah would have been down with that. Just me, but I mean, we're seeing that. We're seeing that authoritarian. It's very weird because I keep thinking about what's going on in Iran, Persia. While this is going on, I can't stop but think about these things and what's happening in Ukraine, how Russian citizens are being co-opted off the streets, thrown into a meat grinder. I mean, the country just is being wrecked by people that, for why? You know what? And we're seeing it, and that's why when I it's frustrating to talk to people that don't like Andor, and I don't expect everybody to like Andor. You can have Jedi Rocks, you can have Book of Boba Fett, but it's shocking to think that we had Book of Boba Fett and Andor in the same year.
Yes, it is shocking that they
And
put out something that was, pretty much done production wise. I give them a 10, regardless of what happens in the story at this point, because of what they did, what they accomplished in this, from the
oh
locations to, the design, the costume design. I haven't seen anything this good in a while. I mean, I think House of the Dragon probably was close to this
yeah,
level of detail, and it just looks absolutely beautiful to watch. Even very specific things like the prison where they had a concept that they wanted to use, and that was, executed so well. Managing to get some of the best actors out there, Andy Serkis, as we already said, but also Stellan Skarsgård. I just feel like the cast is incredible with a bunch of other British actors who are also amazing. I don't know all their names, but I like to hear the British accent when the Empire, officers are speaking. Like, it sounds amazing. They do such a great job making us feel the pressure, the pressing of the Empire on people. You can just feel the pressing, and that's what I like to see. It creates a very real and intimidating environment.
Oh, no, it's fantastic. And to me, it's very interesting because I'm always banging on about authorship. What I feel that Tony Gilroy and Dan Gilroy and John Gilroy, who is an editor on the show, it's really a family affair, and you've got Academy Award winning. The showrunner is an Academy Award winner, and I really feel a sense of authorship. I feel when I'm watching this, I'm getting something that has been really thought through, and everything
Yeah.
about it is done with intent, and it's done with storytelling, and everything has been so thought through. And even
Yes.
what I really liked about even like the visual effects in that space battle sequence were incredible. And I don't know if it's because, to me, it looked like ILM level effects work. And I'm not saying that ILM hasn't been involved the whole time, but
Mhm.
I really feel that I feel this way about most modern shows. There is, for anyone who knows, usually effect sequences are now designed by previs departments, where you've got so what happens is, instead of a director picking shots, what happens is a previs department, like there's whole companies. One's great, The Third Floor. They have my entire movie poster collection that they bought for me, my very big posters. They design these sequences. And if you want to see it, to me, what I think is a perfect example of everything wrong with it, it's not that previous companies aren't talented, but the problem with previous companies is they're not directors. There are directors within previous companies, but there's no vision. They're coming up with stuff that's cool. And if you want to see, I think, the most egregious example of what's wrong with previous companies designing effect sequences, there's a scene in the Russo brothers' $220 million movie, The Gray Man, that's a plane crashing. And it's a scene where our hero is battling villains on this plane as it's going down. And hey, it's well shot. There isn't an ounce of real excitement or feeling in it, because it's one succession after another of, the shots are great. The design of it all is fine. The effects are fine. There's no feeling in it. Previs is great, but unless you have a director that understands, like, for instance, Steven Spielberg and Paul Verhoeven aren't usually talked about as some of the great action directors of all time, but they are. And
Right.
there are two sequences that I would say, if you go look at the truck chase in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and you go look at RoboCop going into the cocaine factory and taking out everybody in the cocaine factory, and watching how a director uses coverage and sets up an obstacle, the character surmounts that. The main character surmounts the obstacle, and then there's a bigger obstacle after that. And
Yes.
all those sequences are brilliantly designed, and that's because they were directed. They weren't all created. Sure, there's storyboards, and people have always worked off that. But nowadays, they shoot the previous sequences because it's easier. And you don't.
Interesting.
And the space battle sequence in Andor this week. Now, I'm sure it was prevised, absolutely, but look at how many times you cut back to Luthen.
Yes.
And you're cutting back where his ship is basically stagnant. staying in one place, and look at how much tension and how beautifully constructed that sequence actually is. And what's so funny to me, we've seen Top Gun Maverick, which is essentially a Star Wars movie. The whole end is them attacking the Death Star. The only difference is the thermal exhaust port was 1 meter smaller than what they had to hit in Maverick. But if you look at Maverick, those jets use countermeasures, against the missiles and everything. So seeing and countermeasures are in sub movies, and seeing what Luthen did, and he's just cool as a cucumber using the tractor beams. I'll give you something to tractor, you motherfuckers. It's just like, and it was so well done. It was so beautifully, beautifully, beautifully done.
It really was. And there was one other thing that I wanted to mention was that their focus to use actual location shots makes it also feel so much more real, especially Narkina 5, when they leave the prison and you can see how the Empire has destroyed the entire surface of the planet. It needed to look like it was that way. I think they did a great job with it. There's nothing of any value left on this planet. Like it's completely devoid.
Which
by the Empire.
Which harks back to the planet that Cassian is from, that we saw in the first 3 episodes. You find when they go back, you see the same strip mined.
Orlani, I think is what it's called. Yes.
Yeah, and that's right. And a man. I keep saying a man because the 2 aliens that they meet, all the water is polluted, and I'm like, that looks like in Return of the Jedi. There's a man. I had a figure of. They made a figure of a man who looked like a giant frog. I mean, this doesn't look exactly like a man, but I'm like, that's a man. They're going back, and I love those guys, and who knows where they went.
Yeah, and someone had asked, why on earth would they need any kind of protection? In other words, why were those nets there? There's nobody on the planet, there's nobody around. And, I guess someone had questioned that. And I said, it's probably because if the Empire comes and tries to take the ship, that's their defense mechanism. And then they can jump into that quad jumper and get out of there. But I suspect that those guys stop by the planet every once in a while. But how are they living there? They can't live on their own planet. It's barren.
Plus, it's not like they run. Right. They have something. So some douchebags that come running into their camp to steal their shit. It's like they've got. I mean, in the Star Wars universe, everyone needs to watch their back.
Yes.
So it's like, come on, man.
I think once they realized that they were prisoners and not the actual Empire, they're like, yeah, we can release them. They're safe. There's no reason to keep them.
And by the way, people are always talking about aliens. I love those guys.
Yes.
It was like Jay and Silent Bob. Oh, the 2 of them. I mean, I love those guys. The way, look, we've got, was it B2 Emo? And then we've got a man. I keep saying a man until I know what they're. I did not look up the Andor visual dictionary. I do not know what those 2 dudes' names are. I haven't looked it up yet, but I'm just gonna call him a man.
And so, of course, since we're so many weeks into the series, I'm still looking for that Mon Mothma figure, Robert. Which we know we're gonna get.
Oh my God! First of all, Hot Toys. We need a Luthen figure, and the thing is, the thing about Hot Toys is they're like, why would you get? How that's not cool. Because I want Mon Mothma. Every one of her outfits is better than the last outfit. I can't. I mean, Mon Mothma. If I was like 12 years old, I would have replaced my Cheryl Tiegs and Farrah Fawcett Major posters. The whole. I would have replaced that shit with Mon Mothma, with a glass of wine in her hand. I mean, that's a redhead that I would like to Mon Mothma myself. Let me tell you, I'd like to Mon Mothma her. So yeah, I mean, wow. Yeah. So, but I'm talking. I want the 12-inch Hot Toys figure, and hey, they dropped Bo-Katan this week.
Yes, they did.
Bo-Katan came out. So there you go. I don't know. I did send a link to Lael, but you know what? I realized I don't know if Lael will be here. Maybe he will. I don't know. I didn't talk to you guys about. I put up the show that it was going to happen tonight, but I didn't actually contact him and say, hey, are we doing this tonight? Because it's been so crazy. Elizabeth's brother. Who's never been here. We haven't seen him in a couple of years. Just arrived now, he's great. Vlad. So,
Nice, very nice.
Retro Nerd Girl says, Manhatma. Yes.
Hi, Retro Nerd Girl.
Yes, Retro Nerd Girl. Manhatma. Yes, she is. Mon Moth Mommy. Yeah, silly goose. I mean, come on now. Oh, that's so funny. The Islamic says Mon Mothma and Ancestral playing Killmonger. Do it, Hot Toys. I wasn't.
Absolutely.
I have my Killmonger. I wasn't going to buy the Killmonger hot toy unless because it wasn't going to come with a Michael B. Jordan head sculpt, and I didn't pre-order it until it did come out, and I have it.
Mhm.
And yeah, I need. Let me ask you this. Total aside.
Yes.
I want. Where's my Dora Milaje figures?
I
And,
do not know why we don't have third-party Dora Milaje
and I don't.
figures.
Look. Here's the thing. I mean, oh yeah, and like I want. You can give me a 3-pack. You
Mhm.
know, but now Denai, she's in the Power Rangers costume at the end.
Yeah, it looks like a roach.
I
Like,
want the I want her Dora Milaje because they're like
mhm.
stormtroopers. You can never have enough Dora Milaje figures. I'd like buy 10 of them.
And let's be honest, the
Those
costume
racist
design
fucks.
that Ruth has done, once again, she's bested herself. I've never seen such extraordinary costume design. The original direction that she takes, she makes designs that are sexy, that complement, the figure. This woman, I wish she had her own fashion line. I really would buy her clothing. I think that she has the best designs maybe I've ever seen. They need her like throughout all of Marvel.
Oh well, she's doing Blade,
Yeah, they need
and
her for more.
I was like, I'm like, oh yeah. For those of you who don't know, Ruth E. Carter is the Academy Award winning costume designer of both Black Panther and Wakanda Forever. And if you watch the last 2 episodes of Designing Hall, actually I did Ruth, but then I also did Gersha Phillips, and Gersha
Yes.
Phillips worked with Ruth Carter on Black Panther, and she did The Woman King, which was,
Yes.
a little Dora Milaje in there. So you can watch those, the Designing Hollywood podcast. No, I love Ruth Carter. I loved her. I love talking with her. She's incredibly talented. And of course, I mean, what's really interesting about her is she's worked with every significant Black creator in Hollywood since
Mhm.
her first film, which was Spike Lee's second feature, School Days. And it was very funny because she saw Spielberg's The Color Purple, and that's what
Yes.
made her want to become a costume designer. And I said to her when I was interviewing her, I go, and now you've worked with every single person that was in The Color Purple. And
Wow.
she has, because a lot of them, like, obviously Larry Fishburne, and you think about the fact that Ernest Dickerson, who shot Spike Lee's School Days, became a director himself, and she worked with him, and she worked with Robert Townsend. She designed Meteor Man, it was just incredible to talk to her, and her work in Wakanda Forever was amazing, just amazing. And you know what?
Yes.
She was very humble about it too. She said, "Well, I work with a huge team of people," and I'm like, "Okay, I understand, but come on." Come on, can we talk about how awesome you are? But yes, I thought it was she was amazing. I really, really, really liked speaking with her.
Mhm.
She was really great. Let's see, there's a lot of people. So our friend Superhero Displays, hello, sir. How are you? What do you think of the fanboy theory doing the rounds that Clea Markey is actually Leia undercover? No. I
Mm-mm.
don't think anybody. Tony Gilroy has said, "I'm not doing fan service on this show because it would defeat the purpose." This whole show is about the everyman, and how does the everyman get caught up? Sure, there's figureheads in any revolution, as Kirk said in the end of Mirror Mirror to Mirror Spock. In every revolution, there's one man with a vision. Find a reason for sparing the Hawkins. Make it stick. I know everybody wants, like, Luthen, to me, if he's a former Jedi or if he was a kid, that would make sense to me. But I don't think we're going to get like, I don't think he's going to ignite his lightsaber if that is one, or if he has one, because that's not what this show's about.
Right,
We get
right.
that everywhere else.
And wouldn't it be incredibly hard for him to hide as a Jedi on Coruscant? Like, that seems the worst place to be if you're hiding and you're a Jedi, right there. Like, the Sith took over the
Well,
Jedi
but it's
people.
been like 20 years, so he grew up and no one knows who he is. But yeah, he's hiding in plain sight. But I don't think. I mean, it's funny because everyone's looking for that. This show's not doing that.
Mhm,
They're not doing that. And
mhm.
maybe they'll do that because at the end, I mean, if they did, it's gonna be like the last thing you see. Luthen would just turn around and ignite his lightsaber or something, and that would be cut to black. The credits would roll. It's because it's not about this show is not about that.
Well, we've already gotten a hint that Luthen isn't going to make it because he said that he works for a sunrise that he'll never see or something to that
Right.
degree. And that's foreshadowing, isn't it, Robert, that he's not going to make it to the end, possibly.
No, he's not. He won't get to the end, but I think he's going to get to season 2.
Yes.
I don't. I think he's going to get to season 2. So, Superhero Displays goes on to say, "Do y'all think Andy Serkis is just punking Ryan Johnson for killing him off?" No, I think that Tony Gilroy probably knew Andy Serkis. I mean, Andy Serkis is a very highly regarded actor. He's been a character actor for years.
Mhm.
A lot of people there. When I first met Andy Serkis, I met Andy Serkis once. We were drinking at a bar when I was working on the Lord of the Rings extended editions, and I believe it was when they had come into town for the Oscars before Two Towers, I think.
Mhm.
And when I met him, I said, "Listen, dude, I got to tell you, I loved it when you played Joy Division's producer in 24-Hour Party People." And he's just like, he goes, "Oh, you know who I am?" And I went, "Yes, yes, I do." And I was like, "I love that movie." And he goes, I love that movie too. And he may I don't know if can I say this? I don't know if I can say this. Let me just say that Gabe Bologna, who wrote the script for Tango Shalom, who directed Tango Shalom, might be the writer of Andy Serkis's new directorial feature. Andy Serkis, before he made Venom, Let There Be Carnage,
Uh-huh.
optioned a script that Gabe wrote while we were in the middle of making Tango Shalom. And when
Wow.
he got Venom, it sidetracked that project. Andy
Oh.
Serkis has 2 projects. He has Animal Farm, and he has the script that Gabe wrote with Gabe's writing partner. I won't say what it is, but hopefully it's an incredible project. It's definitely would be an Oscar caliber project if it goes. So hopefully it does. I mean, I'd love
Yeah,
to
and
see that.
was Gabe at the, Brooklyn Film Festival for the premiere in New York? Was that him? Was he there?
I think he was. I mean, I know that everybody else was. I don't. Maybe Gabe wasn't there. I don't know
Yeah.
if he was there, but everybody else, like Claudio and everybody, they were all there.
Oh, okay, it was
Jose
of
and
Claude.
Claudio were there. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. No, Gabe does not look like Claudio looks.
No. No, not at all.
Hitchcock is the GOAT sends in a tip and says, "I see a Ryan Gosling as a better fit for Bullet than Bradley Cooper. Similar to
Mm.
McQueen, Gosling's strength is how he performs stoically with his face using minimal dialogue. I feel it will be the same character in name only, but in Spielberg I'll trust." Yeah, but he's already done Drive. I
Mm.
mean, Gosling's already done his quote unquote Bullet, and or The Driver. It's going to be interesting to see. For those of you who don't know, Spielberg's new movie is going to be it won't be a remake of Bullet. I guess it will be an adaptation of the book that Bullet was also derived from. Which to be honest, I'm excited to see Spielberg tackle a crime thriller.
Yeah,
Um,
and
but
Bullet had that incredible chasing, the most incredible chasing ever in San
well, at the
Francisco.
time, yeah, it was. But that's what I want to see. I've always wanted to see Spielberg. I mean, other than the chases he did in Indiana Jones, but he's never done a modern car chase.
Right.
And after the my love of Fast and the Furious, that franchise ended with Fast 9, which I hated. For a franchise I loved that it could do no wrong. I will put up with anything. Fast 9 was a bridge too far. Literally, that bridge that they had to go over. I hated that. I wanted to walk out of that movie.
But it
And
made money,
I
Robert. It made a ton of
but it
money.
didn't make as much money as the other previous movies, 8,
True.
7, 6.
Mhm.
But hopefully Fast 10 will be better, maybe. But Hitchcock, I love Ryan Gosling, but he's done Drive, and I think that he got, like you said, in Spielberg, trust, like James Cameron, trust in James Cameron too.
Mhm.
Um, let's see, we got a lot of people. Mario Lopez became a member. P.F. Dennis, Eloy Diaz, Wind Goddess. Tom Jr. Jackson said, "Hey Rob, good to see you, boss. Congrats to on our channel finally being monetized.
Thank you,
Everybody
Tom.
should subscribe and watch our content. I concur."
Thank you.
Superhero Display says Luthen is an effing gangster. Yes. RRTNZ says, "Hail Rob and congrats again. Congrats again. Loving Andor, but I want an ISB spinoff starring Daedra as a tense police procedural hunting down rebel terrorists."
Yes.
I mean, look, I think there's 10 spinoff shows that should come out of
Yes.
Andor. I mean,
Yes.
it's as much as I like The Mandalorian, but it's like, okay, that's fine. Whatever. I'd much rather see more. All the characters from Andor interest me far more, but that's okay. And RRTNZ, I'd watch that ISB spinoff. And you got to have the Grand Maester in it because that guy's awesome. I love him. Let's see. Alex already did yours. PF Dennis said he gifted the 10 memberships. Thank you, PF. Glenn Mark says, "Hi, Rob, and the lovely. What are you drinking this evening?" "Rob, I've got me some pina colada vodka mud shakes." Well, I have to tell you, I haven't been buying booze, mainly because I've been broke. But I'm a member of the beer club at the Lazy Dog, and so I just picked up my beer club. So I'm drinking. They have themed beer, and this theme is 80s video games. So here's Galaga and Hop Attack. It's an India Pale Ale that's 8.5% liquor booze. So,
Nice.
yeah, I've been off the sauce. My face has been thinning out. I was getting a little
Ooh.
too rotund, I think. Now it's time. I got to lose 50 pounds. Not just because for fun. I like that. I'm gonna work out. You're off the sauce. But Dr. J says,
Hi.
"Bobster, I agree with Mm's comments about the British supporting cast. Every actor looks like they have extensive stage experience or benefits greatly by a distinct lack of Hollywood." I
Mhm.
totally agree. I mean, it's in terms of verisimilitude, and that's the original Star Wars benefited from that.
Yes.
That when you obviously Peter Cushing was a draw and Alec Guinness was a draw, but other than that, it's not exactly, they were not household names in America. That, and again, I keep going back to that scene. "Until this battle station is fully operational, we are vulnerable. The Rebel Alliance is too well equipped. Dangerous to your Starfleet, Commander, not to this battle station." And then Vader's like, "Don't be too proud of this technological terror you've constructed." I mean, isn't the ability to destroy a planet is insignificant next to the power of the Force.
And James Earl Jones has extensive theater experience.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
he's had a huge repertoire of theater productions. There is something to be said about that experience on the stage as well.
Oh, 100%. And I think that the acting in this show has been just incredible. And the sex symbols, Mon Mothma and Bix. When
Yes.
Bix was running through I'm like, oh my God, I think she's Puerto Rican.
She's stunning. And she even
Oh.
when she's after her torture scene, she still looks fantastic.
I mean, I felt bad. I'm like, God, she's hot after she's like dying. It's so terrible. But I mean, she's incredible too. All the acting is just chef's kiss. It's all just so very good. Now here's the thing. I keep wondering, like, they have played the only person in terms of, I mean, you can call it fan service, you can call it whatever, But the only person, like if they ignite a lightsaber, then they've crossed a line. But I do think Palpatine could show up because they've
Well,
shown the Senate,
yes.
and he is the Emperor. Like if he came out, no Force powers, he's still gonna be. It's obviously it's post Revenge of the Sith, so he's damaged. But I could see him come out and give some speech. Ian McDiarmid showing up. Do you think he will?
I think he might make an appearance in the Senate, but something that I kind of was curious about is that we definitely saw holocrons in Luthen's shop.
Yeah.
And those are very specific items related to Force users. For the rest of us, it's just a paperweight, but it's the two items, a Sith and a Jedi holocron in his shop. I didn't see them in the last few episodes. I think the Empire actually wanted to take a lot of these possessions for themselves and just collect stuff and keep stuff. So technically speaking, his shop, like he'd be a target right now anyway, aside from everything else that's going on. If they saw those holocrons in there, they'd want to take those from him. So I'm kind of curious about that as well.
Well, I think here's the thing. Tony Gilroy has said that the art department is constantly sneaking in Easter eggs onto the set that even he doesn't know about. So I think that Luthen's shop is full because you look around, there's so much shit in that shop that you're like, oh my God, that's this, or that's that, or that's from Rebels, or that's from this. And so I think on one hand that you're right, but I think that, remember, like in Star Wars, the Jedi and the Force is like, it's what's interesting to me is if you're a Star Wars purist, and it's hard, Star Wars has been hard for me to grow up with because I was 10 years old when I saw it. It changed my life. I wanted to know everything about it, but there was only Star Wars. There was nothing else. Mm-hmm. And then you had the novelization, and then you had the Ralph McQuarrie sketchbook, and you had the paintings, and you had the blueprints, and then you had Splinter the Mind's Eye. But that's all you had.
Yes.
And then going into Empire Strikes Back, it was more of the same. So, and then you got like Han Solo at Star's End and Lando Calrissian and the Mind Harp of Sharu or the Flame Wind of Ocean. Like it was a very slow burn to get backstory. All you really had was what was in the movies, and of course you got Boba Fett in the holiday special, but and Life Day and Itchy and Mala and Lumpy or whatever. But there wasn't anything. So I wonder if in this show, because in Star Wars the Jedi are extinct. They're gone, and no one even, they're like myths. And they hadn't yet, like, one of the things about the prequel trilogy is it kind of fucked up the timeline. It was too soon. Like, it didn't work. Like, Obi-Wan Kenobi it should have taken place further. I mean, it should be further away from the classic trilogy. And it's not. I mean,
right.
And they really, and why is that? Because George Lucas doesn't know. He doesn't read all the shit. He read Star Wars and was like, it's 20 years later. What George Lucas needed was a Star Wars fan one of his kids to be a big Star Wars fan and come in and go, Dad, it can't be 20 years. It's got to be like 40 years, Dad. I mean, come on. People age unless but he doesn't have that. And George Lucas doesn't know. This is what people don't get. The creators of these franchises know far less about them than we do, especially Star Wars. Mm-hmm. And I do think that when you think about all this stuff, the Jedi, nobody knows that they even, it's almost like no one remembers they even existed at all in Star Wars, because Tarkin's like, you were the last of them. There are no more Jedis except you. And Vader's like, I sense something.
And Robert, our other co-host has arrived.
Oh, I can't wait, because you can't talk Star Wars without this cool motherfucker. And it's great because I can't wait to add him to the chat, because I know, because he has a lot to say, and this is going to be good. And look, he's already amped. He's already pumped. So, ladies and gentlemen, you know him, you love him. He is the 1/6 scale man. He is one of the coolest people I know. He's a father. He's a lover.
Yes.
He's a Star Wars
Yes.
hot toy collector. But okay, Lael, I just want to get something out of the way now that you're here.
What's up?
No fucking this week. We're not going to be doing some fucking. No
Okay,
fucking, no.
okay.
I know, just hold on, you know. We got to talk about, as much as I want to get busy with Bix and Mon Mothma, preferably at the same time.
Okay.
You know, we're not, there's going to be none of that now. We're going to get into, first of all, I got to ask you the question.
What's up?
And I've been saying, because your name is Lael, I've been saying Luthen Rael. You know, that's how I've been saying it. I don't know if it's Rael or Real or whatever. Rael, I got to ask you, on a scale of 1 to 10, how cool is Luthen?
Oh, my God. 1,000.
Dude, right? Right?
1,000. I mean, you might as well say it, and we talked about this yesterday on Uncivilized. He's grooming Saul Guerrero. Seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Like he's literally grooming Saul Guerrero. But the thing is, you know, right now Luthen is playing for keeps. He has nothing to lose at all.
War.
Yeah, he has nothing to lose that he hasn't already lost already. And there's a lot about him that I just have this feeling. I have this strange feeling that we're going to find out who he is, who he really, really is. I'm hoping that when we find out, though, I hope it's the long game. I hope we don't find out too early. I hope he basically sticks around, you know, till next season. I really do. I hope he does, because there's a lot more of him that we we need to know. But I think that we're discussing. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, I mean, when we talk about this character, we talked about it yesterday that some of us, you know, were like, well, we hope that they don't take a certain route with him. With me, though, I'm sort of like, if they do, that would be so cool if they did it. But if they did it tastefully and not really give us too much more. But he's I mean, literally, you might as well say that the story is not just about Andor. A lot of it is about Luthen. You know what I mean? Like, because really he's the conspirator. I mean, not conspirator, but he's the one who has perpetuated all of this when it comes to the rebellion. You know, he's been doing a lot behind the scenes and stuff like that just for the cause. So I really love his character. I love the development. His performance. It's above and beyond. You know, everything I could have possibly imagined. Like, he is an amazing character. He's an amazing actor. Period.
Oh my God.
Like, literally, like, if he doesn't get nominated for an Emmy, you know, or you know, he's going nuts over this. So, like, definitely, I love this character. Like, I really, really, really love this character, and I love it because, again, we're talking about a show that is driven by dialogue, character development, and it gets you so vested in these characters, and that's what I love so much about it. Literally.
Now, let me ask you this: are we going to get a hot toy of Luthen?
Hey, if put it this way,
he's not very toyetic.
He's not, but if there's a revelation about this character, see what I did there.
You mean if his kyber crystal goes into his wooden staff, kind of thing?
If there's a revelation about this character, and I bet you it is. And I'll even take it a step further. I'll say this for just follow me here. This is a big, huge what if. This is what if. When I say what if, this means this is purely speculation. It's not saying that this is what happened. Not at all. And not saying this is something that I want to happen, but I sort of do, or it would be cool if it was. What if he is what we think he could possibly be, and he's the one who got Grogu out of that temple?
Here's the thing.
I'm not saying it is.
Thank you, Luthen.
I think here's the only thing though is everything in this show. This show is the anti-fan show.
Exactly.
It
And
is.
that's the way I
It
want
is.
it to be.
Yeah,
And that's the way I want it to be.
and Tony Gilroy said he's like, my mandate was no fan service.
Good.
But
He's
even
doing a great job.
even
Mhm.
that at the end, no fan service is great, and they've given us 11 phenomenal episodes. We're going to get a 12th.
Mhm.
At some point, you
Mhm.
got to have some Star Wars in your Star Wars show. I mean, they've given us World War II. They've given us Jean-Pierre Melville, Army of Shadows. They've given us any
Mhm.
number of European John le Carré spy
Yeah.
thrillers, Guns of Navarone. Call it what
Yeah.
you want. There's been
Mhm.
at some point, and even Tony Gilroy knows this,
Yeah.
they got to go. I mean, we saw this full on, one of the most amazing, one of the most satisfying. I never thought watching a giant radar dish or tractor beam dish coming
Yeah.
apart would be so satisfying. I mean,
Yeah.
they
The
gave
way
us.
he did it skillfully, how he did it, like
He knew
using their own-
he knew Imperial protocol. He's like, I got this much time, and it's
Mhm.
and you know what's great? You know what's so great in
Mhm.
Star Wars? They
Mhm.
have the dun 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 dun, and then R2 flips a switch or Han Solo flips a switch at the very last minute. Dun 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 dun, pow,
Yeah.
into
Yeah.
hyperspace.
Yeah.
In this show, it's like hyperspace achieved, and they're gone. There's no
And the way
there's
they-
no music. There's no
No.
giant. I mean, there's cool
No.
percussion. It's like it just showed him being cool as a cucumber,
Just
and he
cool.
just was good at his job and got the hell out of Dodge.
And the thing is,
After he flew right in, knowing the turbo lasers, the turbo lasers were taking out their own TIE fighters.
yeah, exactly.
It was awesome.
Exactly.
It was so good.
Exactly. It was good. And the thing is, what was incredible is how he used their tractor beam against them
Yes.
and used like parts or whatever as shrapnel to destroy that plot. It was incredible, like how they did it. And the thing is, it's like
Yeah,
I
the
think
countermeasures. It just
countermeasures are in place. Like literally, like the thing about Luthen, again, like I said, and I don't even want to go off of that theory. I just want to go off of the character himself.
right.
You can tell that, and again, everything that we said before this was purely speculation. It's not saying that Luthen is a Jedi, and I would love it honestly if he wasn't, to be honest. But the thing about it is, you can tell that he is hardened right now by everything that he's actually seen, by war, by loss. And again, he is living life as if there is nothing else that he can possibly lose. So nothing, he's fearless. Like the thing is, he's fearless at this point. And it's like, look, I know my place, and I know that there's a sacrifice, and me myself, life doesn't end well for me. But if I can, whatever I'm doing to give a chance, then I'm going to take it, by any means necessary. And he's doing that. And that's what I love so much about this character. I really, really, really do. Again, I hope we don't see his demise in next episode. I hope we actually see more of his story in season 2.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed this show so much, and I hope what's going to be great about this show is there's people that I'll explain it this way. When I was growing up in Seattle, and I was a huge movie fan, I started going to the Seattle International Film Festival. And my parents every year for my birthday would get me a full series pass, and in the month of May and into June, I would see like 200 movies. And a lot of the time, as a genre film fan and science fiction, fantasy, and horror, I was watching a lot of foreign films in different languages that were not exactly the most scintillating movies I'd ever seen. But I had to train myself that if a movie was excruciatingly boring, I had to train myself to know that, okay, it's only 2 hours long. And I needed to give up what I expected in terms of pacing and story, what I was used to, what I wanted. And I had to literally, it was almost like a Zen meditation exercise. Like I have to give up what I expect and let the movie wash over me. And a lot of the time I would find films that were actually deeply moving and rewarding, but they were difficult to get through.
Yeah.
And what I think that Star Wars has such expectation in our pop
Mhm.
culture consciousness that
Yes,
we
it does.
expect to get certain things from it. And
Mhm.
the Mandalorian has given us, as much as I enjoy Mandalorian, I find it to be very superficial. It is not it has superficial joy in it. It's like going to a
Mhm.
Star Wars amusement park. It's all kick ass and
Mhm.
cool and
Mhm.
give me more
Mhm.
Mandalorians in armor and give me the armor and whatever and show me heavy Mando and make me feel proud that I bought that hot toy figure and I didn't sleep on it. You
I
know,
wish I.
you know what I mean? It's you're getting all that Star Wars, that surface, superficial. Yeah, man, Mandalorian's flying around kicking ass. It's awesome. They're gonna retake
Mhm.
Mandalore. Oh look, it's whomever. You know,
Mhm.
and you get Grogu. You get cute baby Yoda.
Mhm.
This show is the antithesis of that. It
Mhm.
has none of
Yeah.
that. It has
None of it at
none
all.
of and for me what I love about this show is it's embraced the wars of it all. And it's showing us that okay, Star Wars takes place in this really fun fantasy universe, but it's built upon the fact that you have an empire it's controlled, that's
Mhm.
taken over a galaxy. You
Mhm.
know, based on dark forces.
Mhm.
And it's bad. It's authoritarian. And now we're seeing the results. It's made it very real, which is something Star Wars never had before. I
Mhm.
mean, you felt it. I mean, Peter Cushing, you watched in Star Wars while the Empire exterminated presumably billions of people when they blew up Alderaan.
Mhm.
But it's all
Yeah.
like Princess Leia's like, "Ugh." you don't you don't see it from their perspective, but that was
Yeah.
horrifying.
It
But it's
was.
a
It
pulpy,
was.
it's a pulp sci-fi movie, and the idea that they just killed. I mean, the funny thing about Star Wars is they can kill as many people as they want. There've never been consequences.
Never. That's the thing. And that's the thing about Mandalorian. At the Mandalorian itself, as great as the show it is, and I love it, don't get me wrong. I mean, that's what set up everything that we actually have from right now from the Star Wars lore on Disney Plus for the series. I love it, and I do.
Yep.
But again, there's zero sacrifice in a sense. You know what I mean? It doesn't feel like there's an actual level of sacrifice. There may be, but not to the point that this show is actually delivering. Gilroy is showing you like literally there's no happy ending without sacrifice, and really there's no happy ending. What we got with Rogue One, it wasn't a happy ending. Like they, of course, they got everything that they needed, but it was zero happy ending. Like literally, you know what I mean? And this is what this show is showing you. Like there's so much tragedy. It's beautiful tragedy because at the same time we're not only seeing the threat, but we're seeing how evil the Empire really is. We never got this level of evil in the original trilogy at all. This is the level of evil to the point where, and I was telling everybody yesterday, now I literally hate the Empire because, but it's a
As well,
good
you
for,
should. You
as you
know,
should, as you see, it's like it's really teaching you how to hate, why you should hate the Empire, why it is bad, but also learning as why it is a complete occupation. That the people that are working for the Empire right now, it's occupation for them. They're doing what they're supposed to, that they're mandated to do, whether they like it or not. Like literally, that's just it's the way it is. You know what I mean? If you want occupation, this is what you have to do. You're working under a dictatorship, as we know and we've
yeah,
seen, but it's just the way it is. You know what I mean? But it's literally like it's giving you it's literally tugging on my heartstrings. Every episode that I actually see, I'm like, there's always that risk factor. There's a lot of risk factor in this film, and it's perfect for me. It's the perfect level. I'm not going to say like you have to be a diehard, like to be a diehard Star Wars fan. When people say, "Oh, you're not," if you don't see why this isn't Star Wars, and you're not really a diehard Star Wars fan. No, I am a diehard Star Wars fan, but this is what I've been asking for, even as a diehard Star Wars fan. I wanted something that was completely different, that was character driven, and a lot of dialogue that I can get vested in these characters. It's not always about punches and powers. It's about how well a story's written, and this is what I'm getting.
well, I mean, Star Wars, it was a fairy tale for the kid in all of us,
Yeah.
and it was. Although I do think that Star Wars and Empire had, I mean, even Star Wars had very, to me, what I always thought about Star Wars, especially as I got older. I've said this a million times, is that Star Wars is about a farmer, a truck driver, and a war veteran. And they get involved in this adventure, and they have to go rescue a political figure. They never expected to have to do that, but they stepped up to the plate and they did it. And but what it never really dealt with was the reality of the Empire was a one-dimensional villain, and you never understood ever in Star Wars, why is the Empire bad, aside from wearing jack boots and looking like Nazis. Why was an Empire so terrible? And it's
Exactly.
and I think that here's the thing, most people don't care, because the Empire is the Empire. It's just, okay, it's a bunch of evil people that use Nazi iconography, from the name Stormtroopers to the I mean Peter Cushing couldn't have embodied a Nazi general more than he did in Star Wars, with his even though he wasn't that, but it was clearly evocative of that. And what people love about Star Wars is the fairy tale aspects of it. The knights, the lightsabers, the droids, the spaceships, all of that. But it's very superficial. Even the platitudes of Yoda, which seemed so profound when I was a kid, when Luke's trying to lift up his X-wing and he can't do it, and Yoda says, "That is why you fail." We're all like, "Oh my God, that's so deep." Not really. I mean, it was great. It was great. Do or do not, there is no try. I still say that in my life. I still say that to people. But what it never really got into ever is, what is an empire? And what does it mean? We never dealt with the men on the street and the women on the street and the droids and the aliens on the street. We never understood that. And the reality of what an empire actually is. I mean, I feel like we looked at Star Wars on this one level, and then Andor's, they turned on a microscope, and we now are going deep, deep, deep into the universe that we never saw ever.
Well, we scratched the surface when in The Mandalorian. We just scratched the surface when Kuil talked about being in imperial slavery and how he had to make sure, Grogu wouldn't fall into that, and how he had been that way. And even as he was free, the Cara Dune's character still was very uncomfortable around him because he had worked for the Empire.
Right.
And the key to defeating the Empire are all these people who work for the Empire. You need these insider people in order to get to the next step, right?
Yeah.
They're the ones who seem to be able to figure out things. That's why I thought maybe Luthen was a former Empire person or worked for somebody close to the top who knew at 15 years ago, whatever that thing was, he figured out what the master plan was that long ago. And, maybe one of these days they'll show us him 15 years ago. But these insiders in the Empire really are very unhappy, unless you're Dedra, who, who wants to climb to the top. But it's interesting to see that there are, people like that there, probably more than what we know. And of course, Lael, you had mentioned yesterday that the Lonnie character, none of us thought he was, the person he was. No one would have guessed that he had that role. They did it so well in this series
because you didn't see it. You didn't see it coming at all. I mean, you didn't know that he was a sympathy. That he had sympathy for, in a sense, the rebellion. You never knew he was a plant. I had no idea until and they hid that aspect of it. And I like those things that you don't know what's coming next. You have zero idea. You're just, because you're so vested in the story, in the pace of the story, that when these cliffhangers hit, it's just like, bam, wow, it came out of nowhere. You know what I mean? I had no idea that this was going to actually happen. So, and that was even the same thing with Vel. I had no idea that she was Mon Mothma's cousin. You really don't. You don't know these things until you follow the story. But that is the art of great storytelling, is that you're so vested in the characters that you're not thinking ahead. You're focusing on what it is to be in that moment. And that's what I love about it.
There's a Superhero Displays says, as a Brit, it's so strange yet wonderful to see so many local stars absolutely killing it on the world stage. Now the world will see so many actors that would never have been known, such as Olaf, i.e. Christopher Fairbanks, Justice
Yeah.
for Olaf. Yeah,
Justice
well,
for
I
Olaf.
mean, and he was
Yeah.
he was in Batman. You know, he was the
Yes.
I'm Batman. You know, and who
Yeah.
are you?
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Whenever if you're a fan of British cinema, like genre cinema, like Hammer Horror had so many British actors. One of my favorite things that's ever been on TV, I Claudius from the 70s, had everybody
Yes.
from John Rhys Davies to Brian Blessed to Patrick Stewart to Sean Phillips. I mean, the great British theater actors. And now we're seeing them all over the place, but they're great in this.
They're so good.
So
It's just, you know what? British actors get on my nerves because they're so damn good, bro. They
Well,
do. They get on my nerves because they're so damn good.
I mean,
bro.
I'm prejudicial because, you know, Shakespeare came from England, which means all acting came from England, even though it didn't. But
it's so damn good, bro. It's just so damn good, bro.
yeah.
Like, and that's the thing is, it's like you can't take it away from it. And I mean, that's, you know, again, I can't say it enough. And he's right. You know, it's good to basically see so many getting chances in this show to really show what they are, who they are, and how well they can act. I mean, even Diego Luna, you know, to be a Mexican-born actor, you know, getting a chance to lead such a show, and them having a confidence that this show can, you know, really, you know, that they can show a totally different side of Star Wars that really has been controversial in such a good way. Like literally, you know when it's a good show when it spawns so much controversy, because again, I was listening to what Mario said last night. He was like, it's not that he doesn't love the show, it's just that he's not used to something like this when it comes to Star Wars.
And I have to say, I honestly have to say that there's no reason to me, if you don't like the show, that's okay. Because this is a very different kind of show. And Star Wars, I think, has been pigeonholed into a certain kind of storytelling and what we expect from it. And there is a pulp, swashbuckling, Flash Gordon, sci-fi aspect that Star Wars has always had. All of that has been stripped away in this show.
Yeah.
All of the like to me, I've always said that one of the problems that I've had with modern genre writing is that these stories should be able to work outside of whatever franchise they're in. So if you're going to write a Star Wars story, to me, I'm like, take the Star Wars out of it. You know, and what you need to come up with is a great story. Forget the Star Wars of it. That'll take care of itself. But if you want to write a great character study, if you want to write a great, like I loved in the Tales of the Jedi, the Dooku stuff, you know, and what the Dooku stuff was is it took out, even though you can't take it out, but it was more about how Dooku was interacting with the people, like how did he interact with Qui-Gon and what did it mean to him and all that, and it really humanized who Dooku was, and it really gave him Shakespearean. He became a much more Shakespearean character in that animated series. You learned a lot more about, and I always loved Dooku because it was Christopher Lee, but talk about a waste of a character that was totally underdeveloped. That could have been, you know, that obviously the Clone Wars developed him more and all that, but I don't want to see an animated version of Christopher Lee being given all the juicy parts. I wish they'd given it to Christopher Lee, but George Lucas doesn't. George Lucas himself would never be able to create an Andor. He never would have. And yet Tony Gilroy needed what George Lucas created to give us Andor.
Yeah, he used the foundation. Yeah.
But most people are like, and I'll say this, I mean, Andor has none of the pulp, sci-fi, classic, Flash Gordon-y, because Star Wars, you know, Lucas wanted to make Flash Gordon, couldn't get the rights, and made Star Wars instead. There is none of that. Andor is the anti-Star Wars, and yet it couldn't exist without Star Wars.
Yeah.
And, you know, all these people are like, and I get it, it's a slow burn. What you want from Star Wars, blasters, TIE fighters, which, by the way, even the way he used TIE fighters was terrifying. It was the way helicopters were used in movies of the 70s, because they were, you know, they were from Vietnam, and they represented oppression. And when helicopters showed up, it was bad. When you saw a Huey in a movie, a Huey was horrible because of Vietnam or Escape from New York or whatever. Helicopters were terrible, and Andor made TIE fighters terrifying. I mean, they already have the scariest noise of any spaceship ever created. But when you're walking across a landscape in the mountains and you hear the distant roar of a TIE fighter, the last thing you want to do is see it above you because it could strafe the ground that you're walking on and you're dead.
Mm-hmm.
And who would have thought that TIE fighters could be terrifying the way they're terrifying in Andor?
Yeah.
And one of the things that I like about Andor that probably nobody else likes is I always wanted to see that entire, community, the sort of like the Coruscant elite, and we're kind of seeing that in
Oh my
Andor.
God, it's the best.
Yeah.
I love
The
it. It's like
the 1% and how
yes.
I mean in this, and I love that Mon Mothma, who it's like, you always saw her as this very nice like grandmother, this matronly lady that ran the rebellion in Jedi.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Here's the thing. I want some AI technology to give me Mon Mothma that we know now and put her in Jedi, because man, I already hate Return of the Jedi. I've already said I know everybody. I know, most disappointing movie I ever saw. But after seeing this, and I can't go back and watch. I probably will never watch Return of the Jedi again, aside from the opening rescue of Han Solo and the throne room. There's nothing else I need to see in that movie. And now with Mon Mothma, knowing who she is, I'm like, don't care. There's nothing in Return of the Jedi that I can't watch it. Not after this. Not after this. I mean, Lael, before you came on, Jedi Rocks popped up in my feed, and I'm watching, the scene with Cy Snoodles singing. I'm like, I hate Return of the Jedi. I hate this. I hate this scene. I hate everything about it. It's just dumb, dumb, dumb. And the reason, when I was 16 years old, after seeing Empire Strikes Back 26 times in the theater, I thought Return of the Jedi was going to be the Apocalypse Now of Star Wars. I expected a 3-hour epic. I expected them to go to Coruscant. I expected the most mind-blowing thing I ever saw. And I got a rehash of Star Wars. And the middle of that movie is completely meaningless. They stop. Let's have a speeder bike chase. Why? Why? What does this have to do with anything? Okay, I'm now going to watch an action sequence that is completely removed from the plot. I'm just going to watch this because we can do it. What does it matter? It doesn't matter. I'm like, get to it, man. There's so much interesting shit. Return of the Jedi is two great sequences. The whole end of the movie and the battle over the Death Star and the beginning of the rescue of Han Solo. The rest of the movie is completely inconsequential. It's a waste of time.
But speeder bike chase, though, bro.
Yeah, well, I know. Whatever. I mean, you know what? I'd rather watch the Boonta Eve pod race in Phantom Menace. At least that had Ben Quaternaros in it. I'm just like, I can't. Watching Mon Mothma, I'm like, where's that woman?
Yeah.
What's going to happen to her daughter? I'm sorry. What's
fucking
you
bury that bitch off? Ungrateful kid.
It's going to be interesting to see what happens to her. Honestly, because there's really, I don't know, like, and as we saw in this episode, like, she's all for the arranged marriage. She's all for tradition. You know what I mean? She's all for
tradition.
That. You know what I mean? That level of tradition, because she feels as though it's going to warrant her a level of royalty, in a sense. You know what I mean? She's looking at Mon Mothma's, even though, like I said, she's a very disrespectful, bratty child. She's all for tradition, and that's why she's basically doing what she's doing right now. You know what I mean? So, again, I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see. But as we know in the books, though, she does end up siding with the rebellion. You know what I mean? In the end, she does show up at her mother's funeral. You know what I mean? That was, pretty much the last time we saw of her character. But yeah, I mean, who knows? Who knows how or which route that they use to take, that they take with this particular character. But I mean, I'm just interested to see what's going to actually the transition from her and her husband, how she gets away or gets, separates herself from that situation. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, man, I'm very, very, very excited. I can't wait. But yeah. I mean, I do think, though, let me ask you this. To go to I do see this show like, to me, all I see is schisms in fandom now. We all loved House of the Dragon to varying degrees. We all love House of the Dragon. Everything else has been divisive. Like what I find interesting, like with Wakanda Forever, as I've said, I think it's a wildly ambitious movie, and it Ryan Coogler was swinging for the fences, and I while I think the movie is imperfect, I really appreciated the ambition of it all, and everything, and you can't like, I get it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but if you just, I believe in judging a movie for what it is, even though I'm always being accused. Somebody accused me yesterday. Well, Rob, you're always saying judge a movie for what it is, not what it's not. And I'm like, look, if you talk about what's in a movie and you can talk about where it fell short and where it didn't, I think that's valid. But when you're like going, well, they should have recast T'Challa, I'm like, that to me is that's not a valid criticism, because that has nothing to do with the movie they gave us. The fact is they didn't. So for you to approach that way is not fair, because they knew they weren't going to recast T'Challa. And it was a decision that everybody made. And now they've beautifully incorporated his loss into, and I like, somebody on my Facebook feed wrote a review that I retweeted where she pointed out, she's like, we don't always know why heroes die. People that we know and love and that are greatly respected, sometimes they just die and it seems senseless. And how do you make sense of that? And in a way, that's kind of what happened to Chadwick Boseman in real life. Nobody, even the people he worked with, didn't know how riddled with cancer he was, and people were blindsided by it. And I think that was an important aspect of the movie. And if you just recast T'Challa, I think one of the great things about Wakanda Forever is it is reality merging with fantasy. The reality of what happened to Chad Boseman, as sad as it was, it's part of that. That film is infused with that tragedy, and it's a rumination on what does it mean to lose a human life, and it's in every part of that film. And yet, whether it was your cup of tea or not, you have to recognize the ambition that's in that movie, and what Ryan Coogler, the insurmountable task that he had to take on. And I thought that he did a wonderful job doing and creating something that by all rights should probably never have existed at all. And yet he brought it in, and yet everyone looks at it. And look, I'm not saying that you have to like everything, and that have I loved Marvel Phase 4 as much as I wanted to? No. There's a lot of Marvel Phase 4 I didn't like. But I also think that fandom has sort of lost its way in terms of cogent criticism. And they're not looking at things like, I think with Andor, what's really interesting, when I hear somebody go, no, it's boring, it's a slow burn, and blah, blah, I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't mean it's not good. It just means you don't like the approach. And I would say that I would say this to everybody. You can't expect the world to be the way you want it to be. The world is the way it is, and it's important for you to examine the way the world is and draw your own conclusions. And the fact is, Andor is a show that is asking the audience to do more than it's ever done when it comes to Star Wars. Andor is saying, hey, you guys, we're taking a different approach, and we hope you come along with us on this journey, but we are not giving you what you thought you were going to get. We're giving you something different, and if you come with us, we're going to give you something rewarding. And what's disappointing to me is that, look, you don't have to like everything, but Andor is delivering on what it promised. It's not like Andor sucks. Andor set up an expectation. It's like, here's what we're going to do. And what they've done is exemplary. It is fantastic, because they took an approach, they decided what they were going to do, and they executed on that approach perfectly. Now, you might not like their approach, and I get that. I give Fine. But you can't say that they didn't do what they set out to do. I mean, that's the thing I love about Andor is it's a brilliantly conceived and executed piece of entertainment. It might not be what you wanted, but the people that made the show were wildly successful in what they wanted to do. And that's what I'm always looking for. I'm always looking for the authorship. I'm not looking for something like, yeah, man, that was awesome. Okay, that's fine. But I much more respect a show like Andor where the creators are like, we should do this. And they executed it, they conceived it, they pitched it, they got it greenlit, they made it, and it was exactly what they wanted to make. And that alone is why I find it worth admiring.
Yeah, they have a lot to be proud of in the show.
They definitely do.
Because they did what they set out to do, as opposed to somebody who failed miserably, like the Book of Boba Fett.
They took a risk, and that's what it's all about, is like taking a risk. I don't even actually call it a risk. I call it doing what it is that you want to do and recognizing that there's something that needs to be done and it needs to be different.
Yeah.
That they need to basically, they have to bring that weight to Star Wars that's been missing. You know what I mean? And that's why I love this show so much. Again, this is the Game of Thrones in space. You know what I mean? This is that level of drama that we've actually wanted for so long. You know what I mean? It's without all of the, driven action and just the adventure. We were talking about this yesterday. This is Star Wars without the adventure. You feel me? Without that level of adventure. This is what it is.
Yes.
And this is why people aren't really vested in it, because it doesn't have that. It doesn't have those, plot devices that everybody, is clamoring for. It's forcing you to think. It's forcing you to listen. It's forcing you to basically follow these characters in their journey and experience the level of emotions that they're experiencing. You know what I mean? And that's what I love about it.
The baggage from the Book of Boba Fett, they still have the baggage from the disappointment in Kenobi. So there is that element as well. And I think what's going to happen, and Lael, this is something we talked about last night, is once the series finishes and they realize how good it is, people are going to be, just marathon watching it.
Yeah.
Once they know that the ending is a decent ending. I think they need that kind of affirmation step in order to go into it more.
Yeah.
True.
No, that's a really good point. This is pretty funny. Hitchcock is the goat says, like you, Rob, Love and Thunder, Thor: Love and Thunder was the first MCU film I hated. After seeing Ragnarok in 2017, I revisited Dark World, and it somehow became retroactively better. But compared to Love and Thunder, Dark World feels like Winter Soldier, which is still my favorite MCU film.
Well put.
Dude.
I'm right there with you. I can't stand the movie.
I hate
even
it.
though they did last night release Gore the God Butcher.
Now let me ask you this. Since you brought that up, are you gonna buy it?
I'm conflicted, Rob. I'm conflicted, bro. I am, because I hated the movie so much. And it's not the Gore the God Butcher that I would have wanted. It's not the Gore, especially the simple for that we got Gore without the God butchering. You know what I mean?
I know.
So it's kind of, I'm conflicted. And look, I love the head sculpt. Don't get me wrong. It's the joints that I'm really taking out of a bit. So I'm really conflicted, even though it looks pretty good. It looks damn good, but it's just the joints. I just don't know, bro. I don't know. What about you? Are you getting it?
No.
Okay.
No, and I have to tell you, I think I'm going to tone down. I was looking at going through all my I can't get all the hot toys I want anymore. And it's getting to the point where like I'm old. So I feel like all the unbuilt model kits I want to build, and all the movies I keep buying and haven't watched, I want to watch, set up this new movie room, and I'm like the 4K. I finally I want to have a big, gigantic, separate home theater building I'm to make on my property one day. But until then, and it's getting to the point where Hot Toys is releasing all this stuff.
Yeah. And not focusing on the stuff that we haven't gotten yet.
Well, yeah. And I'm like, I keep looking at this stuff and like, I was happy to get, it's really interesting. Like I was watching Justin's review of Bo-Katan,
Bo-Katan?
and I'm like, I was like, this figure's great. What's wrong with
Mhm.
this figure? I thought it was great. It looks
Yep.
great. You put the helmet on, it's great. I mean, and the Katie Sackhoff head sculpt is pretty damn good.
Yep.
And I'm like, I like these figures, and they're great. Hot Toys figures are still great. So Toys is killing it. There's all kinds of third party
Yeah.
action that they're making incredible figures, and I feel like just buy what you want. Get what you
Yeah.
want. And I feel like I don't like Justin buys everything. Justin gets everything. And I'm never going to be Justin.
Yeah.
But he
Yeah.
doesn't keep every figure, Robert. He doesn't.
No, I know he gets rid of some things too. But I'm like I'll never have. When I was a kid growing up, it was possible to own every Star Wars figure.
Mhm.
You could own every Kenner Star Wars figure. You could do it. You could buy it. And with the original between Star Wars Empire and Jedi, the only Star Wars figure I didn't have was Yak Face, because that
Mhm.
was the hard figure to get. And I
Yeah.
had every other one, and then eventually I later sold them all. But
Mhm.
with Hot Toys and all these 6-scale figures, it's like I just can't even.
You can't catch up. I mean,
So-
you can't keep up because it's just so much that they're dropping. That's why, like I said, I'm at that space where it's all a pick and choose. Whichever ones I want, I'll get. Whichever the ones I don't want and I don't necessarily need. I went through my entire list of stuff that I actually had and didn't need, and I've been kind of just getting rid of things. Like as far as figures that I had on pre-order, and stuff that I just thought about it. And I was like, you know what? Do I necessarily? Is it a need or is it just a want? You know what I mean? Like it's yeah. You can't have everything, bro.
I mean, I have to say now that the thing, Hot Toys are great, and I've been buying them for 15 years. The
Wow.
stuff, yeah, since they started. And the thing that excites me the most is just because I love Star Trek is the XO6 figures. They released Admiral Kirk, the
Yeah, I
motion
saw that
picture Admiral
today.
Kirk, and it sold out in 7 minutes.
Yes.
And you know what? They've already been shipped.
What?
They went, yeah. He put them out for sale, they went for sale. They went up for sale yesterday.
Mhm.
It's sold out. They were already ready to go.
Yep.
He shipped them. People are going to get their Admiral Kirks next week.
Are
mean,
you
Yep.
going to buy the next movie one with Admiral Kirk, or are you just going to stick with the motion picture?
Come on.
I got to get the Wrath of Khan.
Come
You,
on.
you have to.
Yeah,
you have to get.
please.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, what's really interesting is the fact that you know what didn't sell? The two
Yes.
Discovery figures that they made.
Mhm.
And what's interesting, it's what, first of all, so they released two figures. They released Tim Russ's Tuvok, and they released Avery Brooks's Cisco.
Yes.
So I've even read online that you people are just racist because you don't like Michael Burnham. It's like, no, they released 3 black characters in a row.
Mhm.
That doesn't
And
look like
Cisco
Michael Burnham
and
to me.
Tuvok's, yeah, I know it's it's not the greatest figure in the world
No.
but still, people don't like Discovery. That's what bankrupted Eagle Moss, because they have to make Discovery figures. They have to make those other figures.
Mm.
But those XO6 figures are great.
The
ta-
Janeway figure is remarkable
The-
too. I mean,
They're
I
all
was-
the tailoring is incredible. The Sulu, the mirror Sulu, they got the perfect that one moment. He's like, "Is Spock here? Is the captain here when the cat's away?" They actually got that exact moment from the episode. But I'm like, I never got high end Star Trek figures. I wanted my whole life, and now I'm like, I have to have every one. Give them all to me. But yeah, with Hot Toys, I mean, it's funny because I would love a Luthen figure, but hang on. So we've got okay, Superhero Display says Luthen is not toyetic. What? He's got head sculpts for days in his gangstership. Don't make me go Saw Gerrera on you. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that Luthen is like a middle-aged dude. He's not wearing armor. He's not in some kind of iconic outfit. He's in basically everyday wear. I want that character because I love that character, but you can't tell me that
Did
he's
they ever-
toyetic.
Did they ever make a figure of him? He was in Thor, right? He was in a few Thor films. Am I incorrect?
Yeah.
Did they
Yeah.
ever make a figure of him in those
No.
films?
No,
No.
they
Okay.
didn't. No.
Because
No.
you could take that figure, and
I know I would too. No,
That's
they
what I'm
didn't.
doing with
Yeah,
the
no, they never did.
Insta figure.
Yeah, no, they didn't
But
do
I mean,
that.
and the thing is, I don't think that Hot Toys will ever make a Mon Mothma or a Luthen because who would buy them?
Well, I know
I
they're gonna make a Mon Mothma Disney version that's like $50.
yeah, they'll do that. That's because
And I'm gonna
you
get
know that's
that.
fine.
I
But
want the real one.
again, even like who's going to buy those figures? I mean, here's the thing. If you're a kid, like 10, 8, you're not going to buy a Mon Mothma figure from Andor. You're just not going to do it. I mean, why would you? You're going to take her to a dinner party? You know? And I don't mean to be like, I want a Mon Mothma figure because that would be badass. But I mean, half the fan base our age doesn't love Andor. So much less get a toy from Andor. I mean, you know, it's a Bert. Bert says Star Wars has gone so dark that we might get the following 2 Hot Toys: Wine Mon Mothma, complete with a distressing wine glass accessory, and Thieving Cyril, complete with Imperial credit stolen from his mom's jewelry drawer.
And a box of cereal.
I mean, oh my God, and a box of cereal.
Yes.
And by the way, I love that he stole from his mother that way. That's the greatest thing ever.
Oh no, he stole from mommy.
He stole
That's
from
deep.
mommy.
We've actually seen that. He stole from his mom. Like, wow.
I mean, somebody said to me, if it was like watching the movie Sideways when Paul Giamatti stops at his mom's house before going up to Solvang to with Thomas Hayden Church, and he rips off money from his retiree mother. It's like, oh man, so bad.
That's pretty deep.
Bert sends in a tip and says Scottish-born actor Alex Ferns, who portrays Cyril Karn's friend or former co-worker, who informs him about Andor's mother Marva's funeral, also portrays Police Commissioner Pete Savage in Matt Reeves' The Batman.
Yep. Yes, he does.
Yes, he does. So Bert, nice.
So that's 2 actors who were in Andor and in Batman as well. Andy Serkis and him. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when you go to England, you've got the greatest small pool of actors ever. Hitchcock is the GOAT says, shout out to Lael. When I first saw Wakanda Forever, I was disappointed in many of the choices that were made. But after hearing Lael's insights and seeing it again, I appreciated it more, being able to notice some of what Lael did. I love this channel.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, Hitchcock is a GOAT. I mean, that's
Thank you, man. Appreciate that.
You know, we try and foster an environment where we can share our ideas, and
yeah.
That's why I love doing the show with you 2 esteemed colleagues of mine.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's After Dark, bro. I love After Dark. This is Heavy Metal the movie, the sequel.
Well, that was
every Friday. This is Heavy Metal the sequel.
You're right, and you know, I mean, it's funny because this Friday night show, we used to be just drunken buffoons, like, yeah, fuck metal, dude. We can still do that occasionally, but I do really enjoy. I mean, not to say, you know, Lael. Oh, now you're gonna get me to talk about the fucking again.
No, I'm not.
Okay, sure. Yeah, but no, I think this shows the commentary is good. Yeah. I think it's a valuable show. It's
great commentary, and it's this is a show that Rob gets a chance to really unleash, because you're well tamed on the John Campion show, but then when you're here, it's just like you're like, fuck it, let's go.
Well, I mean, you know, people have been accusing me of being like, look, the John Campy show is a very specific show. We're delivering movie news, and it's not a show. It's a show that we have to be. It's not unleashed. You know, we're trying to deliver, and we're trying to deliver daily movie news and offer some kind of insightful commentary on the industry. This is a complete op-ed show where we're free to talk about whatever we want to talk about.
Talk about. Did you ever see that meme? That meme of the boy? I think he's in class or whatever. I don't know where he's at. but he's straining, like he's like really straining, like he wants to say something, but like he's really like, you ever see that meme? That's you, bro. I was gonna put that up. It's like whenever they ask a question, it's just like you're just like really straining not to really say what you
Well,
really
yeah,
want to say.
it's. I mean, half of what I would say, our audience would be like, "What is he saying?" Like, you know, and it's. I really think the John Campea show though has come to a place where it hasn't ever been before. When we have Ray, we have Taylor, we have Jonathan, we have Aaron and Chris. Everybody is we're having so much fun.
Yeah.
And I was thinking about you today because Ray is very funny, and Ray really likes you, and I told Ray that you really liked him, but there's a comedian who talks like this, and I forget the name of the comedian, and Ray was doing, and he was talking to Chris, and he kept saying Chris. And I don't know what the name of the comedian. I'm drawing a blank on this, but we were dying, and I kept thinking, I wish Lael could see Ray like unleashed. Ray was doing his voices, and he couldn't stop, and it was fantastic.
That's the thing. It's like you want to see Ray unleashed, but you never get a chance because again he's in the back. Sometimes he's unleashed. He'll say certain things when he can because he's a funny dude, bro.
He's the nicest guy in the world. He's so funny.
Yeah,
but
Chris Carr, everybody. It's nice camaraderie over there.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing. I love doing the show. We have so much fun, and I don't know if you watched. Like yesterday, John left, and we did a member call, and then we did open mic. And I thought open mic yesterday was hilarious because it's hilarious because that's when I can be more unleashed.
Bro, when y'all do the shorts, it's funny as hell. Like when I see the shorts that y'all do, I'm like, whose idea was to do the shorts? Because it's funny as all hell.
We and it's funny because I don't know what John thinks of those shorts. He's never said anything. I don't know if he likes us doing them. But it's like Taylor, Jonathan, and I. We go to this taco place on Tuesdays up in we are in Norco. It's called, the city's called Norco. It's next to Corona, and it's Horsetown, USA. And where our studio is, it's this place. It's like, imagine a little desert town, where they have a horse area where there's literally stables. You'd think you'd like in the Midwest somewhere, but this is in the middle of the Inland Empire. And we go to this, we found this great hole in the wall taco place that we go to. And one day I said, hey man, if we go right up the hill, we can shoot something and make it look like we're in the wilderness. And there's all these fences, but there was an open fence. And I go, we'll stop here. And you guys just walk into the frame and it'll look like we're in the middle of the desert. And it'll be great. And we do that stuff and people love it, but I just don't know what John thinks. So
what John thinks. He's not
here's
it.
where I pitched. So Taylor, in real life, Taylor on the John Campea show, his father walked out on him and his mother when he was very young, disappeared. So he does this ongoing thing about his dad, like seeing his dad everywhere he goes. And he hates the fact that his father walked out on him. But we joke about it. And I go, you know what? These little shorts that we're doing, what if we made a feature film where if we just come up with 40 different scenes, and the overarching idea is that one day we just decide, the Campea crew decides to go see if we can find Taylor's father. and
it's funny.
And we just shoot these scenes and do exactly what we're doing. We just take and we make it into a feature film because we go shoot 40 scenes over the weekends. The way we do it, like we just think this stuff up on the fly and shoot it
and just shoot it
and just shoot it right then and there and do 40 scenes and make a feature. Now they're all looking at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, guys, we're making these scenes anyway. We're doing these scenes anyway. Imagine if we had just a framework and did this on Saturday and Sunday, and we're like, it literally, we shoot the scenes, most of the time it's one take. We shoot it in 60 seconds. What if over the course of, say, 10 weeks, we got together on Saturday, or 5 weeks, we got together on Saturday and Sunday, and we shot 5 scenes on Saturday, 5 scenes on Sunday. So that's
Mhm.
10 scenes. We need 40 scenes.
Mhm.
In a month, we have a feature film.
Could it be a documentary?
Well, I think yeah, I mean it could be anything, but I think the scenes, like if we came up with just scenarios, and because that's all we do, we're like, what if blah 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 happened,
Mhm.
and the people are like,
Mhm.
okay,
Yeah.
we did it, and I would string it together,
Mhm.
and then we would do a gathering where we just it'd be like 85 minutes long, and
And
we
just
just have
shoot.
people come and watch, and then we put it up online and
That'd be cool.
charge like $4.99 for it. I mean, John's got 312,000 subscribers. If he had 50,000 of his subscribers pay $4.99 to see that movie,
Damn.
like what is that? $250,000, and we just split it amongst ourselves, and then send half of it to charity. Like
Yeah.
make the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Taylor's
Yeah.
wish is to find his dad.
Wow.
I mean, wouldn't
Wow.
that be funny though? People, if it was funny like our vignettes.
And he might be dealing with it that way just because of the humor factor.
Yeah.
Like that's his way of dealing with it, is to kind of make fun of it. You know what
Yeah,
I mean?
and but the way he does it is hilarious.
Yeah.
Like he's always talking about, he's like, I was at downtown Disney today, and I'm like, I was walking around and I saw like the janitor who's cleaning up after everybody. I'm like, that's my dad, and I just die.
Oh my gosh.
Whatever. It's so funny, but but I couldn't get people. They weren't buying into the idea that we could just go make a movie. They're like, you can't just go make a movie, and I'm like, why not?
Why not?
We shoot
Why
these
not?
things anyway. All we
go.
need is make the sound better. We'll just do sync sound. It's fine. Everyone will just slate. We're good.
Mhm.
Let's do it. Come on. I'll cut it together. It'll be fine. But
Yeah, why
maybe
not?
I'll get some traction. They just didn't understand that. I'm like, we could make a feature film. If we strung together what we've already shot, it's like 10 minutes already.
Because everything is, but it's the show. Who came up with the idea for the shorts though?
Taylor.
Oh, Taylor.
I'll
did.
give him all the credit in the world. I love Taylor. So for those of you who want to know where Taylor came from, Martika Ibarra, who does the Designing Hollywood podcast, was looking for an assistant, somebody she could bring on, and found Taylor. So I met Taylor. He came in and watched. I think when I was interviewing Ellen Moroznik, and who's amazing. I love her. And then Martika and Taylor and I went out to lunch afterwards. We had a very wine-soaked lunch, go figure. And it was like 6 hours long. And then Taylor called his boyfriend, come meet us here, and we're just having the best time. And then he couldn't, he couldn't work full-time for Designing Hollywood. And then John was looking for an assistant and hired him. Brought him on. And the guy's a ball of energy. Well, when for Designing Hollywood, this is really interesting. So he went to Pasadena City College, and he was in the journalism department there. And he had to write articles. And he has no interest in sports, and he had to write an article because it was for class on sports. So he had to go to a baseball game and cover it. And the article that he wrote was, here are all the things that I could have been doing while I was watching this boring 3-hour baseball game. And the article was hilarious. And it was published in the Pasadena City College newspaper, and the coach of the baseball team tracked him down and said, "I love this article."
Wow.
And he's a great writer. The guy's hilarious. He's really funny, and he's hilarious. And then he did an article there at Pasadena City College. There was a sealed up door that everybody passed by every day. And one day he's like, "What's in that door?" And there's and no one knew, like it hadn't been open in maybe since the building was first built. And he got the door opened. There was nothing in it, but he wrote a whole article about this door and what it meant and what might be inside.
So he got a chance to see what was in the door, and it was nothing.
Yeah. But he comes up with these ideas, and so he's like, "What if we did? Why is no one promoting like the Weekly Hero or this? Let's do a video." And he'll come up with a scenario. I've come up with some now too, but he'll come up with a scenario, or Chris will come up with one, and we'll just shoot it. And usually what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
So
That's dope. That's dope.
and I'm like, why not make a movie? I mean, the funny thing about what John has done is he's found all of these very talented people and just, put them together, because we all do other things, whether it's making movies or, Erin Cummings is a working actress.
Yeah.
And
she does acting, coaching, and things like that as well, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and she's in the new Nancy Drew series that she's like the villain this
Yeah.
season. And she was just shooting. She was in 2 weeks in New York doing FBI something. So she's
I
working.
love her and Chris Carr. I love Chris Carr though. Chris
Oh,
is amazing.
Chris Carr I love her to death. She is absolutely a treasure. She is so smart and so funny.
Yeah,
And I love her to pieces. I wish she's significantly younger than I am. I wish I'd met her in high school. We would have been lifelong friends. She's the best. I love doing the weekly hero with her.
Yeah.
We have so
much. I mean, that's what I'm saying. He's really put together a good team of individuals and stuff like that. Erin Cummings, love her as well. Ray, it's just Ray. That's just Ray. Ray is just a good dude.
Well, John has said that, and that was true at Collider. I mean, John puts together talented people, or just people that I cannot tell you how much fun it is to be in that room for the 2 hours that we do that show. It is so much fun. We laugh so much. It's hilarious. And it's funny because John is like the straight guy. He's like and he laughs, but because he's the one that keeps us all on point, and he's designs the show.
He keeps everything together. Yeah. But you can tell he's laughing his ass off behind the scenes, and even when the commercials are over, his like sponsorship is over, you can hear him laughing in the background.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's so much fun to do. I wish everybody could have. I'm very fortunate to do that show. I know it's not everyone's cup of tea. But
it's funny as shit though, because you're sitting there. I could tell like there's so much shit that you want to say, and I'm looking at your face, and I'm like, yo, he wants to say it. He wants to say it, and I'm like, yeah, I was one of these days. I think it was it Tuesday or Wednesday? I was going to send in a super chat, just say it, Rob, just say it. It's so fucking funny,
dude. I would have lost it. I would have lost it. It would.
Oh man! Wow.
I mean, it is. I mean, and the funny thing is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
Like there's no. We're and the thing is, John really does look up topics, and we try and make it topical, but it's just there are times when I literally I'm so close to spitting out a mouthful of coffee or Diet Pepsi on my microphone because it's hilarious. It's just hilarious. And Chris especially is really quick-witted. She's really funny.
Yeah, she is. She's an amazing person.
She's amazing. And she's so nice.
Yeah. She seems like a sweetheart. She seems like a sweetheart. Yeah.
Wait, we're doing a show, right?
Yes, we are.
Where were we talking about Star Wars?
We were talking about Star Wars. Yeah.
We're doing super chat.
Let me do it before that. Let me just take you guys. We are a week away from the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. So when we come back, it will have dropped. We will have been able to watch it. What do you guys? Do you have any expectations for now that Kevin Bacon is officially in the MCU?
I'm glad you asked, but I'll let answer first.
Well, I sure hope they're nicer to everybody in the holiday special than they were to Thor in Thor: Love and Thunder, because I felt that was not a very nice way to treat Thor. So that kind of turned me off to it turned me off to Guardians of the Galaxy, and I'm not as excited about it as I would normally be.
Interesting. Okay.
Interesting. That is interesting. I'm actually excited about it. I'm more excited about it now than I was when I first saw the trailer, because the first time I saw it, I was like, well, it's a holiday special, so whatever. But just seeing like some of the featurettes and how excited Kevin Feige is about it, and it's James Gunn, so I know it's going to be something in it that's going to pull me in and be like, okay, yeah, this I hope this is something that we can actually revisit and watch, time and time again, because I really do love the Guardians of the Galaxy. And knowing that now, even seeing the last featurette when they were like, they show up at Kevin Bacon's house. He's like, you're a gift. You're a Christmas gift. like literally, it was hilarious. So I can't wait. And I want to see here's the thing is, what I want to see the most out of this special is Karen Gilliam's take on Nebula now that she's with them. I want to see her in this and how comedic, if how the dry humor of that particular character. That's what I want to see. So I think it's going to be funny.
Okay, here's my question. I've asked this to other people. Do you think when they go into Kevin Bacon's house that we're going to see a poster for X-Men First Class? Because he of course, leader of the Hellfire Club. Are they gonna, are they gonna do? Because there's gotta be some great meta moment where, like Drax stops and goes,
mm-hmm.
"Hey, wait, isn't that?" And then he gets pulled away, or something like that.
I don't know.
Because
I don't even know if they'll make reference to it, because it was a Fox feature at that point. They'll probably try to, they own it now. So I don't know. It's
okay. That goes back my big multiverse theory.
Mm-hmm.
I've said this, and I've been saying this forever, before I knew that the first time that we saw any evidence of the multiverse was J.K. Simmons in the end of Spider-Man Far From Home, when he shows up as J. Jonah Jameson. Then this whole ridiculous Ralph Boner business in WandaVision.
Yeah.
That's fucking Quicksilver. Now at the time they're playing with us and be like, no.
That's Quicksilver.
It's Quicksilver. I mean, give me a break. After everything they've done now, you with Multiverse of Madness, look, they brought back fucking Black Bolt from the Inhumans TV series. That was so beyond the pale, but once they've done that, it's like the Ralph Boner thing from WandaVision. It only makes sense if we've been watching, and Kevin Feige, I've been saying this, we've been watching the multiverse this whole time. We just didn't know it. Why is no one talking about people like, well, Eternals?
You brought this up. You brought this up on the show, and it was an interesting, when I was watching Camping, I was like, you know what? That is an interesting way to bring everything together, is a simple fact that every iteration and every film that we've gotten from this particular phase has been in a different pocketed universe.
Because the fact is, if you look at phase 1, 2, and 3, every post-credit sequence, all of it pushed it forward. Not everything. It was always, and it was all, they haven't done it at all. It's been tie-ins unto whatever's going on in whatever various variant universes. No one has mentioned, other than people like, well, Rob, on the She-Hulk, they had on the thing, they had a joke about the Celestials, and the Celestials were in Love and Thunder. I'm like, okay, the Celestials can be there. The Celestials exist. But there's a Celestial coming out of Earth's oceans. Why didn't Namor mention it?
Exactly.
The Talocan, there's a rupture in the ocean. Like a Celestial's climbing out of the Earth, breaks open the bottom of the ocean. Where does that water go? It's not a water airtight seal. Where does that ocean go? I mean, and I'm like, it's because, and the Eternals mentioned the Avengers. Okay, because whatever universe, they have the Avengers, but the Eternals, the Deviants, there was a monster rampaging through London. No one seems to care, And
that's the thing, is that they only mentioned, and they did mention, Ajax did basically mention everything that happened with Thanos, the snap, the Avengers. She had mentioned it, so that was the only bridge from what we got from the last.
But that could have happened in a different universe. Same thing.
It could have happened in multiple universes, because it did, and that's the thing, is because they leaked that because Strange did see multiple iterations, and of that snap and Thanos's
I saw
influence.
1,000,000 blah blah blah.
Exactly. So we did actually get that. So that does answer that. And the only person who may know anything about the multiverse and what's going on in our link between it right now is Wong.
Well,
to be quite honest,
actually, I think we've seen multiple iterations of Wong.
probably
We just didn't know it.
And we didn't know it. That's what I'm saying. Like, and I think a lot of that's going to actually come to fruition, or at least we'll know more about it in February.
Yeah, I think so too.
You know what I mean? The Quantumania. I think we'll basically kind of dive into that, and that's how we know. I think we even got a hint of it. We got more so a hint of it in Loki, the last episode of Loki.
Oh yeah, I mean the whole break, and that's what we're seeing. We're seeing all the different
fractured timeline.
It's the 616. It's the 616. I think we're all seeing 616, but it's just different iterations of the same, and that's why no post credit scenes have been pushing us into the next movie.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's why we're not.
The only ties that we actually got to Eternals is She-Hulk. Literally.
Yeah.
That's the only ties that we actually got to She-Hulk within that universe is that. But other than that, I mean, yeah, I think that in which if they did that, then it would make perfectly good sense, because it feels like so far that every film has been a standalone. You know what I mean? Everything has actually been a standalone. But if they actually bridge it together like that, like everything is taking place in a different universe. And of course, we know we're going to see Secret Wars. That's going to be interesting. It's definitely going to be interesting.
And by the way,
how that's going to happen.
In Secret Wars, we're getting everyone.
I believe it.
Everyone.
Tony
believe it. Stark, Chris Evans. I wouldn't be surprised if we see Roger Corman's Fantastic Four. I mean, everyone's
racing, like straight up. I wouldn't be surprised if we seen Eric Bana. I wouldn't be surprised if we seen Ed Norton. I wouldn't be surprised if we seen like just about everybody who's been involved, like literally involved.
Yeah,
I wouldn't.
It's going to be
I'm gonna tell you who I want to see, and they better bring him in. They better bring him in. If they don't bring Howard the Duck into Secret Wars,
no. He's why? Look, I want if someone said to me, Rob, you can make any MCU movie you want right now, I would make the Collector and the Grandmaster, who are brothers, and Howard the Duck do a road trip film
together,
and they would be skipping across the multiverse, collecting whatever shit they needed to do to stop some rupture someplace.
We saw Howard, bro. Literally, we saw Howard in Endgame and haven't heard anything from him since.
Well,
we saw him carrying a gun in Endgame. Like, come on, man! Like, that was the most brilliant thing you can actually do.
Trapped in a world he never made, Lael. Trapped in a world he never made.
Yo, I want to see Howard, man. I'm ready to see Howard, bro. Bring it in. But yeah, I think that it's the best way to tie it in. Like, literally. Like, it is the best way to tie it all together. And I think that's what it would make so much sense if they did it that way. And that might be, and that's what I'm saying. You might be onto something. I'm going to tell you, this is how I know if you're onto something and we don't see you on any of the John Campion shows and we don't do the Midnight Musing, that means you've been silenced.
Oh, well, no. It's so funny. Star Trek Picard, they couldn't silence me. It's like it's so funny. No, I'll tell you what they should silence me for: Secret Invasion. I keep waiting. Should I read from the Secret Invasion script? I don't know if anyone. I mean, I don't want to do it.
Has anybody contacted you to be like, hey,
no.
Hey, nobody.
I don't think. I think you know what what's so funny is I don't lie about shit like that. Like I don't, and I'll tell you. Okay, here it is. Right now, for those of you who don't know, so Marvel shoots all their stuff as it's secret. They don't. They have to do it secretly. You know what I mean? So they can't. So I'm going to read. So, Secret Invasion was shot under the title Jambalaya. And I would like to read. I've said it before. I think I've read it before. Hang on, I got to find it because I love this. I love this. Okay, this is on page 4 of of the first episode of Secret Invasion.
And this
And
isn't going to get you in trouble,
who
Robert.
knows? I'm going to say it anyway because it's awesome. And I'm not going to say who's saying this or what's going on. I'm just going to read this. I'm just going to read this line of dialogue. This is on page 4 of Secret Invasion 1, the first episode. Let me see if I can. And by the way, this is not a character we know. It's not somebody you know. It's never been somebody we've seen. I mean, Ross, this is big. This is a 5-alarm fire. This is the whole ball game. Bottom of the 9th. Humanity down a run, and we've got the relief pitcher on deck. I mean, where are the Avengers? Where are the Asgardians? Where the hell is Fury? There you go.
And that's it.
That's all you're going to get. That's from page 4 of script 1 of Jambalaya. I loved that paragraph. Loved it. I was like, that's all I'm saying. All I'm saying. All you need to know.
I'm not saying anymore.
And it's fucking go watch the trailer. I would say this. When I read the Secret Invasion script, it's great spy thriller science fiction. It's X-Files meets Captain Marvel meets Winter Soldier. It's everything that I love about the serious aspects of the MCU. There's a little bit of, actually, there's a lot of Alien Nation. If you know Alien Nation, the movie and the TV series, there's some Alien Nation thrown in. It's really good. I hope they pull it off because I loved it. Loved it.
Do you think that this is going to have a lot of implications going forward? After this show, like it's going to open the door for some different things that are going to actually happen. Do you think that this is huge on that aspect of like after this could completely change everything we see afterwards?
No,
Okay.
because it's what I loved about it was it is I almost want to say it's kind of a self-contained story. It's truly it's a sci-fi espionage spy thriller MCU Winter Soldier story, and I really liked it a lot. It's not like the Secret Invasion story in the comics. I mean,
definitely, we definitely know they
it's
can't
not
go
that.
back.
But what's awesome about it is, it's what I loved about it was its connection to Captain Marvel.
Okay.
It's all set up in Captain Marvel. And imagine what would be the ramifications of what happened in Captain Marvel carried out to, because the MCU now is 2024, 2025. That's, imagine Captain Marvel in 96, 97. Imagine the things that were set up then transposed to now. And what if there were, I don't want to give anything away. I don't want to say what's going on. All I can say is that it really, I really liked Captain Marvel more than a lot of people did because I loved it as a science fiction story, and the idea of the alien Skrull refugees and finding a place to live and all that. They lean into that, and they Secret Invasion, at least the way it's written, makes Captain Marvel a better movie. And it's really interesting.
That's what I'm
It's really
I'm
good.
happy. Here's the thing. The only thing that I didn't like about Captain Marvel is what they did with Nick Fury in the end. I don't like that change. I don't like that because that never happened. And that's the only thing that took me out of it.
You will like it when you watch Secret Invasion.
Okay.
I will say Secret Invasion is, they should have just called it Nick Fury.
Okay.
I mean, frankly, to be honest, they should have called it Nick Fury.
Okay.
I mean, it is Secret Invasion is peak Nick Fury. It might be
Wait
the
a minute.
best Nick. It is
Wait
actually.
a minute.
I will say this.
Wait a minute.
It's the best Nick Fury in the MCU.
Wait a minute. We're gonna talk after. You got me thinking. Now you got me thinking that. Oh, okay. Hold up. Wait a minute.
Fury
I take my glasses off on this one. Wait a minute. Rob, are you saying that we could possibly see a course correction?
All I'm telling you is that all I can say is that the Secret Invasion series, the 6 episodes of Secret Invasion, are Nick Fury all the fucking time.
Okay.
And it is the most. I can only imagine how much fun it is going to be to watch Sam Jackson in Secret Invasion, because it is. You know what? It's just really good, and again, I've only read the scripts and seen the trailer, but I loved it. I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I thought it's a great MCU story, but it's a great science fiction story. It's also a great spy thriller. But it has really intriguing questions that it poses. And
so there's one particular character that I hope Emily Clark is playing, and I'll just leave it at that. I hope she's who I think she is in this show, and if she is, I hope they do it right.
I ain't saying shit.
If she is, they are definitely going to tie this character. They have to tie this character in with the X-Men. They have to.
Don't think that.
Okay.
Don't think that.
Okay.
Don't think that. This is, in a way, it's very
okay.
It's very steeped in what has already happened.
Okay. Okay.
And they've added, and I will say they tell a really great science fiction story in the MCU.
Good.
And I dare say this. I think I said this once before. You might cry at the end of episode 1, and you might want to invest in a certain Hot Toy action figure. Just saying.
When is this show dropping?
I don't know. Sometime in 2023.
2023.
Look, I gave you my dramatic reading of something. Like, I don't know if that, like if I get demonetized, Disney's like copyright violation.
Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah. You just at this point.
The last time I read from a script, I got a copyright strike from Warner Brothers for Dune.
Oh, really?
But what would be really interesting is that if they do give you a copyright violation with Dune, I'm like, I read the book, dude. It's in the book. But with this, if Disney does give me a copyright violation, then they verify that I do know what I'm talking about. But I would say this. I loved it. I loved it.
I can't wait. I can't wait to see it.
I'll send you the scripts if you want them.
I cannot wait to see it.
Would you like to read them?
I don't. I want to be surprised.
Okay.
So I'm just going to wait. I'm going to wait and basically see how it is. I mean, they got my boy in it. They got Don Cheadle in it. So I can't wait to see it.
Do they?
Nah,
I'm just kidding. Maybe.
That's what I'm saying. I think again, if
well, no, I mean,
did in the books, what they did in the books, it was. I mean, there were a lot of people that didn't like that run. I loved it. I loved it for what it was.
What's really interesting is, so Ed Brubaker, I had bought 3 Ed Brubaker omnibuses. I think Winter Soldier was the first, and then it led through the Secret Invasion storyline, and then with Sharon Carter and all that stuff. I loved it. I spent one Sunday afternoon, I spent 10 hours reading Ed Brubaker's entire run through Captain America.
Mm,
and it was and part of it was Secret Invasion.
yeah,
I loved it. I thought it was really good.
yeah. That's what I'm thinking,
I
man.
I find it so strange that we've seen the trailer for Secret Invasion. Nobody seems to be talking about it. Like there's no. It's almost like it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that trailer is dope. It's so good. That trailer for Secret Invasion is so good. I guess,
Mm-hmm.
people don't. By the way, I'm not a paid Disney shill. I just read something that should get demonetized, copyright violation from the Walt Disney Company. I'll freely admit it. It is totally whatever.
It's gonna be interesting.
It's really good. I mean, I
Mhm.
really liked it a lot. And you know what? It's funny because here's what I find, and let me ask you guys this: with Andor, to go back to Andor too. When we see something like Andor, the people behind that show, whether you like it or not, you have to recognize that, my God, do
Mhm.
they care?
Yeah.
There is not one. The production design
Mhm.
is everything about that show is not left to chance. It is
Yeah.
so brilliantly conceived and executed. Now, it might not be your thing, which that's fine, but
Mhm.
you've got to give it up for executing on their vision, because
Yeah.
man, do they do that? Don't you
Yeah.
think?
That's some. We need that though, bro. We need more of that. Is the execution on vision and space to really tell a story that you want to tell, but giving us something different, man. Elements that are different. It's just us, like people like us, who are like people like me. I'll say it this way: people like me who are so vested in comics. I collect comics, I read comics. That's just basically been like the story of my life. I gotta divorce myself from this notion that everything I'm going to see in the books is going to be interpreted on screen. So
Right.
I think that's where people get let down, is that when you see it, if it's not the interpretation of what you're used to, then you're like, oh, that didn't happen. No, let them tell the story. At least we know we're getting certain characters, because if they told the story that was carried on in the books itself, they would have to tell. It's something that you would have to tell over a couple of seasons. So
Right.
I understand them dulling it down to really just tell the story that they need to tell, but pulling references from the Lord and from the just pulling those references I'm comfortable with. So I just decided to really divorce myself from those particular notions, especially after Thor: Love and Thunder.
By the way, Nathan Trujillo in the chat says Miss Marvel was awful. I respectfully, sir, I disagree. I thought Miss Marvel was actually delightful. I thought it was one of the highlights of Phase 4.
Yeah.
I loved the characters. I loved the family aspect of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was exactly what they set out for it to be.
Mhm.
And they cast that show so well.
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
for what it was, now, was it perfect? No. I mean, they didn't even need the antagonists.
Mhm.
It was, but I really loved Miss Marvel. I thought it was delightful for what it was.
It was a beautiful story told, and it was fun. It was a feel good show. I love the actress. I love what they did.
Yeah.
In the end, I love the journey. And they basically like just the history of
Oh,
the partition and
oh my
everything.
God.
I love that. Like I
Something
really
we don't
love
even
it.
know about in America.
Yeah, because the partition, and the thing is, people have to understand that was real. That was a real thing, and it
Yes.
did happen. They kind of fantasized it a little bit to kind of tell the story, but it was something that really did happen, and I'm glad that they bring those historical events into a show like that. I really loved it, man. I love that show. I've watched it. I've gone back and watched it, especially for something that's feel good. Even during the holidays, I would suggest to go back and watch it, because it's just like those feel good moments. You take something from it. Like even I told Toya, I said for Christmas, around the Christmas holiday, I'm gonna go back and watch Hawkeye, just because it's centered around Christmas. I'm gonna
Right.
go back and watch it. People can say what they want. It
Iron
wasn't,
Man
the best
3
story.
is centered
Exactly.
around, I mean, Shane Black
It's around
directed that, and
Christmas.
his movies are Christmas.
I mean, Spider-Man: No Way Home around Christmas time. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? You actually get a chance to see like certain elements of Christmas and like the holidays and stuff like that. So yeah, I love those things where they can bring They can tell a story and send it around life events. So yeah, Miss Marvel was incredible, bro. I love that show. Why we didn't
I
get a
did
Hot
too.
Toys yet, I don't know, but yeah, I love that show.
Yeah, dude. I mean, well, I always talk about Blackpink, and I'd love to get 6 scale figures of them, and they're in their 20s. Grown men
Yeah.
buying a 16-year-old
Let
girl.
me ask you real quick though, Rob. That's what I wanted to ask you. I forgot before I lose my train of thought. That Kurt Cobain, did you see it?
Bob Dylan's like, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh my God.
Yeah,
Still no
bro.
bass player. I got no bass player. Here, wait,
But that
I have to
Kurt
show
Cobain.
people. So for those of you who don't know, I'm all about my 6 scale band right here. And you can't see it. I by the way, I'm rearranging this, but I know you can see it now, but it's on the I'm going to rearrange all this so you can see it from this angle. Vampirella's the groupie. I'm actually going to have Vampirella's the groupie. She's the groupie. So Prince is my front man. You got Bowie right here. You've got Freddie Mercury. There's Elvis, Jimi Hendrix, and John Lennon. Now, I gotta move it around so the viewing experience. Look, I gotta get more. I've got a LED that's going to shine. It's going to shine from behind me onto my band. So for those of you who don't know, I've ordered the Ryan Gosling character from La La Land. He comes with a piano.
Oh, really?
So now I have a keyboardist to add to the band.
Okay.
And then so for those of you who don't know, Blitzway, the great Blitzway, is putting out a Kurt Cobain figure, which by the way is fucking awesome.
It is phenomenal. And they're doing the unplugged version, the unplugged MTV version. Right.
I mean, I don't know why. The most expensive action figure that I own, the most expensive, thank God, a kid in the UK, man. This Prince figure, it's one of 30. Purple Rain Prince. I mean, I'm a huge fanatical Prince fan. Had to get it. But and Toys Wonderland, I ordered Bob Marley, and they only sent me the head. I don't know. I don't know why. I've been trying to for like the last 6 months. Toys Wonderland, to be honest, I love Toys Wonderland, but you guys have really been sketchathoned out.
I just got my Winter Soldier, my Winter Soldier from Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
I had a $3,000 order. I refunded. I didn't get my Ecto one from Ghostbusters. And then I had an order that was waiting, and then it just disappeared. $3,000 order, it's gone. Didn't get sent. Trying to figure out what's going on. They sent me the Bob Marley head, and then here's the thing. I ordered Maria Hill.
You still haven't gotten it?
Nope.
Wow.
I have not got my Maria Hill. I ordered my Maria Hill in August. And it was interesting because when I ordered it, I always ordered DHL, and they said it was Hong Kong. And then I got an email, well, it's because I talked to Justin. I'm like, dude. And I also paid for the InArts Joker, the deluxe Jokers, paid for it.
Yeah.
So, and look, Toys Wonderland has done some good stuff for me. But on the other hand, then they've done some crazy shit. And I'm like, just send me what
what you paid for,
And when I order that stuff, it comes in a week. Why is it I ordered a figure 2 months ago? And they're like, well, you might get it in December. I'm like, okay. It shows I'm looking at how do you just send it to me, man?
Yeah.
But then this $3,000 order, I'm like, where did my order go? And it disappeared from my thing, my actual order. It's gone. Poof. And all the figures that I ordered, including the So-So Rorschach, the 2-pack from Zack Snyder's Justice League. I mean, the whole thing, it was a huge order. Gone. The Iron Man with the clear plastic, that's all gone. I mean, who knows? Whatever. It's fine.
Now, Robert, are there more super chats?
Oh, there are. Yes, there are. And first of all, Ernest Rister, the great Ernest Rister, became a new member. Ernest, I want to remind you, tomorrow at 11 o'clock Pacific Standard Time, we have a membership chat, and I will, after the show's over, I will put that in the membership. You'll know where the link is. Jaimin D says, "Hey Rob and just throwing my late night recommendation for some sassy romantic murder mystery, The Ex Mrs. Bradford with William Powell and Jean Arthur." Man, that goes back. If you guys haven't seen it, it's really fun. I haven't seen it, but man, you're talking about like 70 years, which is great. I love that.
Hi, Jaimin D.
Jaimin, your recommendations are chef's kiss. John Kokoza says, Andor is the hunt for October of Star Wars. It's Tom Clancy style spy game and espionage. I agree. That I think that's a great assessment, and I love that film.
What it is. Yeah,
I love that film so much. Hank O'Neill says, Beau Willimon, creator of House of Cards, is a writer on Andor and wrote the Prison Break episode. Dope as fuck. Well,
yes,
they look. I think that Tony Gilroy has. That's another thing that we are getting top shelf talent. I mean, the people that we're getting working on Andor are not like, say, not to compare or contrast, but the Rings of Power showrunners who really haven't done much except co-wrote Star Trek Beyond. I mean, we are getting Tony Gilroy, the showrunner for Andor, is an Academy Award winning screenwriter. The director of Michael Clayton, his brother Dan, who wrote episodes, wrote and directed Nightcrawler with Jake Gyllenhaal. And I mean, we are getting probably the highest pedigreed group making Andor of maybe any TV show ever. Incredible. It's incredible. Nay says, it's Tubes. He's my man.
2 tubes, yeah.
Two tubes.
Yeah, there you go. Yes, sir, indeed. Our friend Superhero Displays, the man, says, calling it Luthen only, cool is a damn insult. Well, I don't know if we have words in the English language that can do Luthen justice.
Yeah.
I don't know. Wow, there's suddenly a bunch of and then Superhero Display says, I stand by Mon Mothma's kid is a damn narc.
Yeah.
Is she? Do you think she's a narc?
Said that, yeah.
I think Luthen has had a few late night talks with her and, have convinced her that she has to kind of stay away from her parents, that they believe in a system that's corrupt, and that if she wants to make any difference in her life, she has to be this undercover person for him. He's playing it from all angles. I wouldn't be surprised if the husband was doing something too.
I think it'd be very funny if they find out they're both working for the rebellion. I think that might happen.
That would be crazy.
The great Efrain Guzman is here. He asks thoughts. By the way, I've been on his channel. I will come on your channel shortly. He always asks me. This weekend, though, is bad. Efrain says, thoughts on Tulsa King. I thought it was an amazing first episode. Hashtag Lael. Hashtag Stallone should have played a mobster. Did you guys see Tulsa King?
I didn't.
I have not seen it yet.
It is fucking great. And Stallone is having the best time. Efrain is not wrong. It's really good.
I got to watch it because I have not seen it yet.
It's really good. You'll love it. Nay says, I think the reason Andor isn't generating heat or clicks is because it's good. It's not controversial. That's interesting.
It's interesting to look at it, yeah.
I mean, I think just people don't dig it. I mean, Superhero Displays must be talking about Luthen. His cape billowing in the wind at the end of episode 11. Or is that Cassian on the beach?
It's Luthen, and isn't it?
Well, he's in his ship, so we don't know where Luthen goes because he's not in episode 11. Because at the end it's Cassian and Homeboy.
It's Cassian and Melcy.
Yeah, they say goodbye to each other, which, by the way, was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, that was a defining moment. That's when we seen Andor really realizing his place and what he needs to do.
Yeah, totally.
Of course, we know he's going to end up going back to his mother's. He's going to end up there somehow.
Yeah.
I think he's going to end up there, and I think he's going to end up taking the droid, literally.
I think it was
Oh my
episode
God.
where Luthen had the cape thing, and people were saying it reminded them of Darth Vader for some unusual reason. Something about it
Yeah.
was.
I
as,
think that everybody who watches Andor needs to put away. I mean, I know it's based on Rogue One, but put away everything you think you know about Star
that,
Wars.
and
It's
just
not
follow
there.
this story. Yeah.
It's not there.
Well,
It's
you
not.
know, Jimmy Smits's character, didn't he wear a cape sometimes, or am I incorrect?
Yeah, but lots of people did. I mean, Bail Organa, he can't even be in it. Look, he was in Obi-Wan. No more no more people we've ever seen before. That's the whole point about Andor. There's a much bigger universe.
And I think the thing is like I like that because we're getting a chance to follow characters like Mon Mothma. We get a chance to follow her story because we've never really got a chance to really see her story. Like she's the only like Mon Mothma in Andor. Well, Mon Mothma mainly is the only person that we can tie from the original trilogy, but we're seeing a totally different version of her. We're seeing a totally different story, a much deeper, darker, risk-taking story of this character, and that's what I love about it. I love the simple fact that, again, everybody has a part to play, but it's tying in the end, and I love that. I love the way we're seeing it so far. Again, I can't say it enough. I love this show. It can do no wrong. Every episode just ups his game. It ups his game, and it just takes you on an adventure.
Yeah,
we're also seeing a lot of cultural practices that we haven't seen before, like the Chandrillans and what they practice. For example, the Squigs and how they get married at like 12, and how they have this oppressive, I guess, at home in Chandrillan, they have this oppressive behavior where you just have to do what you're told and you just comply. But also some other things that are going on in Coruscant, how a lot of the events that happen. I know in one of the episodes, somebody had said, it made its way all the way to Coruscant. And I'm thinking to myself, they must mean to the Empire, right? Because if they're saying to Coruscant, they mean to Palpatine or to the Senate or whatever. And I think it's interesting, all the events happen. And then if it makes its way to Coruscant, it's a big deal. Like it's major, these order of operations, or even, the way that things flow, the information flows through that world. Because remember now, things are stopped up. It's not like you can go to and fro wherever you want to. Information has to go a specific way now. So I think it's very interesting to look at this when you had that freedom to kind of communicate whenever you want to. Bix would go into that I guess column and call whomever she wanted. You can't do that anymore. So these are very interesting things of how they're dealing with the way they used to do stuff, and now they can't do things like that anymore. Or going to Tassio Moon to pick up a dress. I like all these little details that are normal for their way of life. And that a lot of that stuff is going to go away. A lot of the stuff is going to be wiped out.
No, I think you're right. I mean, and again, the fact that they give us so much food for thought, it's so good.
Yeah, they do. And that's what I love
when
about
they
it.
shut down Ferrix, where you would go there to get any kind of part or whatever it was that you needed. I think it's Ferrix.
Or or what are they building on that prison that they needed so much? Now that prison, was that what it was? I mean, or were those TIE fighter wing parts? Who knows? I don't know.
Yeah.
Some old guy in Hawaii says, $20 super chat. Thank you so much. That's very nice of you. This is great. He says, would you buy a hot toy of Cyril's mom?
Yes,
what accessories would or should it come with?
She would have her nice clothes, the stuff she got from Tassio Moon. She'd have nice jewelry. She'd always have her hair done nicely.
It would have to come with a voice box.
That's I was going to say that. That's exactly, whether it's in the stand or whether it's in the back and you press a thing. Oh my God. I just want to hear her voice. Cyril, what plans do you have? What are you going to do?
Straight up, you would just have to turn it off in the back of the access.
And what's funny is if you turn it on, she just wouldn't shut up. You get the actress just to, do a 4-hour just. I would just talk like, Cyril, listen, you're a disappointment to me. Like, what can you do? Our uncle. I mean, that's the only accessory she needs is the voice chip.
Oh, she loves her voice so much, guys.
I love her voice too. She's fantastic.
Yo, she's funny.
Who
Like
is that
literally.
actress? Do we know? Has she been in anything else?
Oh yeah, no, she has, and I'm drawing a blank right now, but she was in something recently, and she's awesome.
Yeah, yeah. She's an awesome actress. She's just like an annoying mother, but that's just the role she's supposed to play. I'm
so
interested
good.
in finding out who his uncle is, though. That's what I want to
Okay,
find out.
that's the next question. His uncle. Do we have to meet his uncle next
We
episode?
have to meet his uncle at some time, man.
Is
Like,
his uncle going to be somebody we know or somebody new?
I don't know. I have no idea. I mean, part of me hopes it is somebody new, but they could just, swing for the fences and give us, pretty much somebody that we know.
What if his uncle's Tarkin or something?
or it could be Tarkin, or it could possibly even be Krennic.
Right. Oh, I would love that.
Mm-hmm. We just have to
First of all,
see, yeah.
I fucking love Ben Mendelsohn.
Yeah, me too. I'm so happy that he's in Secret Invasions, bro. I cannot wait to see him, bro.
Can I just say one more time, if I wasn't being clear enough, the Skrulls in Secret Invasion, all of the Skrulls are fucking awesome.
Yeah, I can't wait.
I mean, Ben Mendelsohn. I can't say it.
Yeah,
I want to say. I just don't want to get mad. Someone's gonna get pissed. They're gonna be pissed.
Don't say it.
Just, I love Skrulls. You know what though?
You know what?
I'll tell you. By the way, who's
Skrulls in Fantastic
no? There's
Four,
no. Oh yeah, but there's no
not
Super
this
Skrulls.
Not
no,
this
there's
I'm
no,
talking about in Fantastic
people
Four.
don't know. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, they're not ready for that yet. We're not ready for that yet. Nobody's ready for Super Skrull yet. Not yet.
No,
we'll get them, but not yet.
By the way, I would pay good money if the post-credit scene in Quantum Mania is them opening a door and finding the Fantastic Four that have been trapped in there since the 60s.
That would be incredible.
That's my dream.
That would be incredible.
Anyway, before I let you guys go, I know it's 12:05. It's past your bedtime. Let's just rifle through these.
Mm-hmm.
RRTNZ says, jumping on the Andy Serkis train. I worked on The Hobbit's second unit. He was director and was always gracious, friendly, and professional, even to us extras. Look,
he's an amazing
I have never heard one bad word spoken about that man. I only met him once. He was absolutely delightful.
He's a good guy, man.
And Kino is Kino. Oh, my God. By the way, Glenmark also says, Glenmark, not RRTNZ, and Glenmark goes, I wondered why Vampirella was with that group. Even Elizabeth goes, why is that girl in a bikini with your action figures of the band? I'm like, she's the groupie. And everyone's like, oh. I'm like, she's my hottest action figure. Why shouldn't she be the groupie? I know she's Vampirella, but
I want to see you create a diorama stage, bro. I do.
Well, I will, but I gotta have a big platform. I gotta do the whole. First of all, I need a bass player, I need a drummer, and I need a keyboardist. And I know. And people like, I can't get the Spinal Tap 6-scale figures. Those don't count. So I know it's a hard thing. I got a whole philosophy behind it. It's terrible. Max Finkel says Tar and After Sun, 2 movies I can't wait to see. I don't know if you people have seen a clip of Tar. That's the Kate Blanchett movie where she destroys the social justice warrior. Man, it's my favorite thing I've seen this week.
Yeah.
Tar and After Sun. Do you love it or do you hate it? Do you hate what she says?
Me?
Can hate it? Yeah.
I'm interested in that movie, man. I can't wait to see it.
Because you're a music guy. You're an audio engineer. I can't wait to see it.
I cannot wait to see it, bro.
Tar and After Sun. Tar Convo after had us referencing Kane and Network. Please don't miss these 2 in the theater. I won't. I mean, I can't wait to see it. Tar's already coming out in 4K. It's already on. I really want to see it. She looks amazing. So, Max, you have good taste in film. After Sun looks great. This father-son thing, father-daughter movie. It looks wonderful. I really want to see it. By the way, everybody, I know it's not the biggest thing in the world. There are a lot. There's like, we've got The Menu. You've got She Said. You've got Tar. You've got After Sun. There are some great films for the next 10 days in theaters, please, I implore you, go see them theatrically. There's some great movies in theaters right now. Please go see them. Nay says, you see, Chris Hemsworth is taking a break from acting because he learned he is predisposed to Alzheimer's. I wish him the best. Yeah, we saw that in the Disney Plus show, and you know what? Good for him. I mean, Chris Hemsworth, every time you see him, he's got kids. He's got Elsa Pataki, his wife, who was in Fast Five. She's absolutely beautiful. Good for him. He's done the world enough good.
Yeah.
And it's good. I mean, who doesn't love him? I think that's a great thing. Glenn Mark says, you got to do it. A tailor-made movie. Look, Taylor and I would totally make that film. I couldn't get a lot of traction. When I start talking about making feature films, a lot of people tune out. They don't think that we could do it. I'm like, oh no, we can. And I don't know if John Campia would let us. We might have to do it without him knowing and making him a producer. But you never know. But yes, it's sad. I mean, but he's predisposed. Look, what it says to me is that there are ways around we're figuring out how to deal with Alzheimer's. He's a young man, and the fact that he knows it, he can live in such a way that maybe he can avoid that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Jordan Saylor, who's a friend of the channel, also a member, says, I find they overuse slow motion in movies today. I think if they cut out all the slow motion of Black Panther 2, that movie would have been down to 2 hours. Rant over. Yeah, but movies are stylish. You know, if slow motion is well presented. Look, if they didn't use slow motion, they would have added more scenes in the movie. I don't mind slow motion if it's used well. I thought it was effective in Black Panther and Wakanda Forever.
Yeah, very much so. It was, man.
Yeah. Dr. J says, I hope James Gunn gives Kevin Bacon a show-stopping moment or a game-changing speech that makes Star-Lord idolize him even more. Okay, let me ask you this, both of you.
Yep.
Lael, will Kevin Bacon and Star-Lord have a dance-off?
Yep.
I think so, too.
Yep. It's inevitable.
I mean,
It's going to happen.
It's either going to be let's hear it for the boy, do 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 do, you know, because that's what Chris Penn and him dance to, or we're going to get the climax of Footloose.
Footloose. Yeah,
it's got to be Footloose.
It definitely has to be.
The problem is the Umbrella Academy already did that Footloose dance sequence.
Yeah, I don't care. That season, this last season was trash to me. It just didn't work. I don't care. I don't care. I want them to do it. They have to basically do it because that is what
the Umbrella Academy did not have Kevin Bacon.
They didn't have Kevin Bacon. They definitely didn't have Kevin Bacon. So let's yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they have to do it. They have to do that though. That's a must.
Yeah. Glenn Mark says, sigh. Chris's VO class is the closest face-to-face interaction I'll ever get with her in my life, probably. Well, Glenn, you know, she is married to a wonderful man. And just saying that. But you never know. Like, I would love to come to New Zealand again. I'd love to come to Australia. You never know. Cosmics says, I can't wait to see Harrison Ford's General Ross as the President of the United States. A rumor low-key confirmed by scoopers. We need a hot toy of it. Okay, I've heard this. Here's why I hope General Ross becomes president. Because I'm a huge Jack Ryan, Tom Clancy fan. And if they continued, it really bummed me out that after A Clear and Present Danger, they didn't continue the Jack Ryan franchise, which I understand why they couldn't after 9/11. Because he becomes president of the United States in executive orders, and it would have been great. So Thunderbolt Ross being president, it's Harrison Ford being the president he should have been as Jack Ryan. So I'm all down.
What do you think of the other Jack Ryan, the John Krasinski's?
John
John
Krasinski.
Krasinski. I think he's great. I think he's, they've changed the character. I really like him. I thought the first season was great. The second season was okay. They kind of replayed, but I'm looking forward to the third season because I've read all those books, and I mean they've changed it around. I mean, there was Alec Baldwin, there was Harrison Ford, there was Ben Affleck, and there was Chris Pine, and now there's John. There's been 5 Jack Ryans, and I even like Some of All Fears. It's different than the book, but I thought
Definitely.
Ben Affleck was good as the young Jack Ryan. I liked it.
Mhm.
But yeah. Cosmics goes on to say his first appearance might be in Captain America 4. It's supposed to be a political thriller. What do you want to see from Captain America 4, New World Order, or what are you hoping to see?
I know there's going to definitely be some implications of Wakanda.
Yeah.
Definitely. I got a strange feeling it will be. Like, really, really, really will be. There's a lot that's going to go on there because, again, there was a favor. There was definitely a favor that Winter Soldier phoned in was to get Cap that suit. And that suit was Wakandian made.
Yep.
That shield was Wakanda. Those, I guarantee you those wings are probably minted with, some vibranium.
Oh, of course.
So definitely know. So again, I mean, and what CAP stands for, again, there's definitely going to be some implications there, some tie-ins there, because I think we're going to actually see that. We know we're going to see the leader, in that film as well. I'm just interested to see how they're going to actually take it and where it's going to go, which is going to be interesting. And is leader going to play into the possibility of seeing Thunderbolt Ross as the Red Hulk? Are we going to see that? But which again, that's going to tie into the Thunderbolts. So there's a lot that's that could basically happen here as long as it's done tastefully right. Again, but again, I'm always saying that before we even get the Red Hulk, they got to retool and give us the right Hulk.
Yeah, I mean the Hulk. I'm tired of all that. Yes, I completely agree.
They need to. They definitely need to. Because he's just a running joke right now. Like,
I agree.
Literally.
This one goes out to the lovely, the man, the myth, the legend, Mikey Lito.
Hi, Mikey Lito.
Says when Cyril rifled through his mom's drawer, I thought of saying he's going through Daedra's underwear drawer.
Ah.
Is that true?
Yes, because he's, even though he met her and he said that he followed her and she's like, stay away from me. He'd already been to her apartment, gone through her underwear drawer, sniffed her panties.
Oh man.
He's been through everything, drank out of the milk carton. He's been to her place and she just knows it. And, everybody's saying secretly she probably likes it, but he follows her. He knows exactly what she's doing. What I think is going to be interesting is, I guess maybe they'll see each other if she goes to the funeral too, but he's going to be there. He will be there at that funeral.
Well, Prince once said, "You're so fine, I'll drink your bath water." Maybe Cyril's that kind of guy.
Possibly.
I don't know. Glenn Mark says, "Oh, laugh out loud. I wondered why Vampirella was with that group." Yeah, man, she's our groupie. That's it. It's funny, Elizabeth. Nobody knew that. I had to explain it. Elizabeth's like, "Oh, okay." Digital Ronin says, "I absolutely loved Captain Marvel because it's the only movie where Ben Mendelsohn is a good guy." Well, let me tell you, Talos
funny as shit too,
and Talos is fucking dope in Secret Invasion. Amazing.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Stub McSave says you need them to make Phil Collins and Sting as 1/6. I would love that. I mean, I only can buy what I can buy. Please, somebody make me a 6-scale bassist, and it can't be a band. Like it can't be. It's got to be somebody who's the best bassist of all time. That's what I need. That's what I need. Digital Ronin. Oh, actually, Stub McShave said Phil Collins and Sting is 1/6. Yes.
Mhm.
Digital Ronin says, Rob, start an OnlyFans where you just spoil stuff. I'll be your first subscriber. I don't think I spoiled Secret Invasion. I read a little bit, told you I didn't say shit about what's going on. Maybe I did. I don't know. But AJDZ says, following from Rob's theory, I'd like Moon Knight to be revealed to be in a different universe and season 2 to be a serious version of the real MCU. I don't know if we'll get that. I mean, look, I'm not a multiverse fan in terms of storytelling. I think it's, the problem is we don't know
Mhm.
all that. I mean, Uh, Superhero Display says, what do y'all think of the fan theory doing the rounds that Clayla Markey is actually Leia undercover? No,
I think you read that one.
yeah, I did do that one. We don't think that's true.
Yeah.
Ladies and
Still
gents,
too young.
I got to let you guys go. It's past 3 a.m. your time. So I'm going to let you go.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
I'm going to ask you both. First of all, where can people find you online? Because there's a lot of excitement. Your channel's monetized. You do a show here on Mondays. Where are you at all the time?
Guys, you can always find me on my YouTube channel, Positive Fandom, on Sundays at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Time. You can find me on my Sunday brunch show where we do all the parlay in the fandom. On Monday nights, you can find me right here on the PGS for my Ladies of the PGS show at 6 p.m. Eastern. You can also find me on the 1/6 Scale Man Network,
Yes, yes, yes.
either on Say What or Uncivilized Scoundrels. You can also find me on Lorena Creole's Twitch channel for our Toxic Male Appreciation Show, which streams on her Twitch channel at 5 p.m. on Thursdays. And sometimes you can find me on Midnight's Edge in the morning at 12 o'clock with Tom and Andre. And you can always find me here on the PGS at Midnight Musings with Lael and Robert, and more to come, guys. So thank you for the support, everybody out there. I so appreciate it.
Mhm.
Lael, 1/6 Scale Man, where can
Yes.
people find you on the interwebs, and what do you have coming up?
Oh man, well thank you as much. It's always a pleasure being here. I love it. It's my highlight every weekend. You can find me on the 1/6 Scale Man
It's
YouTube
our
channel.
pleasure.
It is on the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel. I am on the road to 4,000 subscribers.
Wow.
So definitely, if you haven't already subscribed, please head on over and subscribe to the 1/6 Scale Man YouTube channel. We have Collectors Lounge International on Sunday. Let me see here. Monday is Comic Book Talk with Friends. Our last discussion was for Wakanda Forever last weekend. Had a blast. It was incredible. It was so much fun. We have Say What Wednesday, and then definitely Uncivilized Scoundrels. Well, actually, no, we're not going to have it next Thursday because it's
It
Thanksgiving.
is Thanksgiving.
So we won't have it then. And I don't know because it's Black Friday. We will have Figure Flex Friday possibly.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's going on in my world. But yes, if you haven't subscribed, make sure you head on over and subscribe to the channel now if you haven't already. And yeah, let's get going.
Lael,
And Lael,
oh,
I'm sorry. And Lael, you also have a fundraiser going
that's what
on.
I was about to say. What tell us about
Yes,
the
yes,
fundraiser
yes.
on your channel?
So what we're doing basically right now is like any super chats that we actually get during the channel or when you're actually watching the show goes towards the Thanksgiving initiative. That's for families who can't really afford, food for the holidays, food for the homeless. Also, I'm going to be doing a local coat drive here as well to kind of make sure that people are clothed and warm for the holidays. But yes, mainly, like I said, all super chats proceeds, as we have been doing pretty much since Halloween. All super chats and proceeds that I've gotten have gone towards. Well, the last one went towards making sure the kids got costumes. We were very successful with that. So thank you very much, everybody out there. And also, these proceeds are going to go towards making sure that families are fed, families who can't really afford. We are so fortunate to have certain things, in our lives. So I want to make sure that we can pass on everything that we've actually learned and been, blessed with. So again, all proceeds goes towards, making sure that families are fed.
We're doing something similar on this channel in December. It's going to
Mhm.
be I'm going to be doing a day-long stream to raise money for charities. And what's great about YouTube is you can actually, when you donate, it goes right to the charity. You know, you can set it up so it goes right to the charity, which is, I think, very cool. I've loved that about it. I've done a few streams before raising money for charity. So, Lael, congratulations on doing that. It's fantastic.
Yeah,
And,
definitely.
they make it
Definitely.
great. Well, listen,
And
my
if, you know what?
friends. Oh, go ahead.
You know, I do want to say this before we bounce out. When you put that picture up of you falling asleep on your day long stream, it was so funny.
I've got no ego to bruise, you know? It's, I mean, look, man, I have to tell you, you watch that video. It's up. You can see it. I was like, and I'm like, I lean back. And I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson for putting that picture up. We're all, our great moderator, Tom, we're all goof people.
We're all goof people.
Yeah,
you know, and he put that on the bridge of the Enterprise. I'm on the view screen of the Enterprise. So, yeah.
I do like it.
It's fantastic. Man. You know what? I mean, that's the thing. When you're on this, here's the one thing. I think the one thing people understand about this channel is we ain't bullshit. What you see is what you get. And sometimes you fall asleep.
Yeah, that's it. Sometimes
you forget to turn off the stream.
Yeah, that was funny.
After 8 hours of drinking and mirth and mayhem, it's like, hey.
Yeah.
But at least I was quiet. I wasn't like, I was out. I was gone. But I'm glad you like that, and I'm here for you. I'm here for you. Well, listen, my friends, I want to thank you. It is such an honor to stream with the two of you. Congratulations on getting your channel monetized. That is fantastic.
Yes.
And please tune in to your Positive Fandom show.
And subscribe.
And subscribe and all that. Go to her channel right now and do that. So thank you for that. I will send you both into Slumberland. It's 3:25 your time. Thank you for being here. I will see you. I think next week we're going to take, unless you want to be here, but we'll probably take off. I mean, you know, I don't know. Or not. I'll ask. If you're around, I'll ask you. We'll be back because we'll be chilling out. Who knows what's going to happen? There's a lot of good movies. We might do an earlier stream.
That would be great.
Like, why don't we do an earlier stream? But I know that, Lael, you have even an earlier stream. Maybe a Robservations when I have the two of you on the afternoon or something, because we're not working. But I know you've got your stream Figure Flex Friday.
We might. We definitely might.
We'll figure it all out. You know,
how it goes. Yeah.
Well, thank you both for being here. It was great to see you.
Yeah.
Great to see you too, Robert and Lael.
See you guys later. Definitely.
All right.
Thanks for having me. All right.
Love these kids. So great. Thank you both, Lael and for being here. Listen, I've got relatives who've shown up here since during the show. Normally I would stay and do more, but I'm going to end this stream. For those of you, a lot of you, thank you for the people that gifted members. We have a member chat tomorrow or later today, which will be at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So that's 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'm going to put it in the membership tab right when I'm done here. And we just shoot the shit. How a membership chat works is whoever wants to come can come. You raise your hand, and we put you in a queue. And everybody who speaks, you get 10 minutes to talk to all of us, talk to me, ask me whatever. But we all hang out together. So it's really fun, and we do these bi-weekly. So if you're a member of the channel, that's what we do, and it's going to be fun. So tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. And on that note, I want to thank my moderating staff for being here. I want to thank Tom Jr. Jackson. He is all goof people. I want to thank Lord Toth, who I saw here earlier. And I don't know who else is here, but Alex Detman. I want to thank Alex. Alex, you and your nephew. Oh, wait till you see what they made me. Right here, right in the heart. So thank you, Alex. So anyway, on that note, join us tomorrow. I will be doing a Robservations tomorrow about Steven Spielberg, the 45th anniversary of Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Meet the Fablemans, all of that. So join us for the membership chat. And tomorrow night, a Steven Spielberg Robservations talking about everything Spielberg. And to celebrate, a couple days ago was the 45th anniversary of Close Encounters, what it means, all that good stuff. And on that note, I would say to all of you, remember, every person you meet has a story to tell that you have yet to hear. All you have to do is listen. And with that, I say to all of you goof people, have a better night, and I'll see you members at 11 Pacific Standard Time. Okay, that was good.